All right, we live, baby. All right. So, here we are. I'm going to go into host mode now. Here we go. I still don't know how to ever start these freaking episodes. Uh so we're
That's
back.
not surprising.
Yeah. So we're back. I guess we're going to call this season 2 because we've been on a hiatus long enough that I would call this a new season. So here we are, back to season 2. Back to it. Uh yeah. I think I already said here we are. Let's do the introduction, shall we? Let's do that then.
Trust.
Let's get let's get it done. Starting at the top in no particular order, but just the order in which I have your guys' names listed. We have AGTX the Dragons.
He has Tourette's. Everybody just ignore him.
Yeah, AGTX the Dragons, who will be playing Uquill, our human what is it? Slayer / dragon shaman. Shaman! Our dragon shaman. Yep.
I wonder why I'm still part of this group.
People don't forget that joke will never die. Underneath him, we have Icy Hot _2305. And he will be playing Zoltan Heisenberg, the half drow deep druid. He's not your grandma's druid. He's not your grandpa's druid. He's a deep druid, which means he gets his natural powers not from the above world, but the below world. His nature is tied to the caves, the deep places, the cockles, if you will, the deepness. Then we have Kassid69, who will be playing Agargus. Say hello, Kassid. Okay, so moving along then. So Kassid69 will be playing Agargus.
You can fucking learn. Like, you better come in saying it with your chest, or he gonna fuck you up every time.
Yeah, you better be on pins and needles. She will be playing Agargus, the Myconid, which is just think a mushroom, only a humanoid mushroom, like lizard folk, only they're mushroom folk, if you will. Myconid, Pion Mender. Yeah. Then we have yeah. Then we have Ness, or as we all have just called him. We just kind of ignore his like screen name and just all call him Android, anyways. So
that me.
yeah, so Android will be playing Android for Risen, the half wood elf. He's a lord. Yeah, he's a lord. He's got a mansion. What are you? A bard / paladin / saint of Corlon Lorethian. And that about covers it, don't it? That's that's right. And I am your humble DM, Lord Pog. I want to thank all the Golden Wonders who are out there listening to this. I don't imagine you're watching it because there's a lot of static imagery, but I want to thank all you Golden Wonders that are out there listening to this and welcoming. Oh my goodness, welcoming us back to season 2 of Adventures in Loxos. Let's cue that intro, huh? Doodaloo, 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 doodaloo.
What a great intro.
Welcome back, everyone. All right, so where we left off. Last thing we did, well, just as a quick recap, you guys have ended up in Pangshun, the continent of Pangshun, in the country of the Dragoon Below, or Longzi Judo, which that's Pangshunian. That's Dragoonian for the Dragoon Below. You're in their shogunate right now, and you guys have basically come there because what you've done, effectively, I might add, and I mean it just like that because you guys are effective at doing things like this. You have basically begun to cut the material plane of Loxos off from the elements, the elemental planes, which feed the different elements into the material plane, which helps keep it running. The planet is dying, folks. You guys, you have effectively cut off the elemental plane of water and Terran right now. And the only way you're going to fix it is if you can get a hold of all of the conduits that belong to the elemental weirds. And the elemental weirds are basically like, sort of like the ambassadors from the elemental planes to the material plane. They're, as long as they live, the elements will flow through them into the material plane. But because you guys accidentally killed the water weird, now you have set off a chain, series of, yeah, you have set off a chain of events that now require you to, basically, you now have to get the conduits of all the weirds in order to formulate a plan to save the elements somehow. You're not entirely sure how that's going to work, but you know you have to do it. And you've collected the conduits from both the water weird and the old oak, who was the Terran weird. You're here now. You've traveled to an entirely different continent, all the way as far east as you can go, to find Fang Titan, who is the elemental weird of air. While here, you found yourselves caught up in a self-fulfilling prophecy that Uquill is supposed to fulfill, where the Dragoon basically want him to find a way to free their goddess from her constellation prison, Tachesis. So he's entered. Yeah, so he's entered this this tournament called the Jingzhou, which is held every 30 years, and it is a time of peace. All the shogunates, all the tribes, all the people come together in the land of the Dragoon, Longzi Judo, to celebrate this festival. And during the festival, during the Jingzhou, as it's called, they are no blood can be shed. Now, fights can happen, yada yada, but nobody can be killed. It is supposed to be a time of peace, so everybody's supposed to uphold that one rule. Should somebody murder another person, the person who did the murdering is to be executed with no question. No question. Doesn't matter their race, their status in life, their gender, none of that. You die. Unless the person who is murdered is a Dragoon. Because the Dragoon, all those years ago, those centuries ago, agreed to be the ones to hold the Jingzhou in their lands, their lives are particularly supposed to be considered sacred. Should one of them die through murder or nefarious reason, not only will the Jingzhou never be held again, but the Dragoon will then go to war with all the other shogunates and tribes. So, lo and behold, Android, Agaragis, and Zoltan, who aren't in the competition, are being told about a plot to assassinate this really important figure within the Dragoon Society, Mazaru, who is their like head shaman. She's like their religious figure. Think the Pope. Yeah, there's an assassination plot being held up against her, and Android and Zoltan and Agaragis have all been basically conscripted to try and help figure out who's gonna try this assassination and stop it. They're being assisted by Lao D, a small town detective, and who is also a dragoon. And yeah, that's pretty much like the plot in a nutshell. Where we left off, Yuquil had just finished the second trial of the Jingzhu, and now he's about to go into the third trial. And should he win, he will get the choice. He will get one of two choices, I believe. Maybe there was three, but I think there's only two. He will either get to ask a question, any question, and have an answer, or he can have a new breath weapon of his choice from one of the four ancestors, the Dragoon. Well, they're not actually Dragoon, they're just straight up dragons. Agaragis was doing some spying at this farm, one of the leads you guys had, and they got caught. And so Agaragis now is running, and they have decided to go venture off into the wilderness to try and get back to the Forgotten City, which is the capital of the shogunate, Longzi Judo. And Android and Zoltan, both, along with Laudi, you guys got another lead. You were attacked by a criminal called Mr. Blossom. You managed to fight him off, and then when you returned to rest for the night, you found Zoltan's new fiance, Chu Mi, being attacked by a Wujin. And that's pretty much where we all are at the start of this campaign. The rest of it, for any of you out there listening who want to know more, well, there is episodes, so catch up that way, and we'll fill in any other plot holes as we play. I mean, this explanation could take another 2 hours, and we're not trying to do that. But that's basically what's going on in a nutshell. Everybody caught up? Good. Let's play some D&D, y'all. Welcome back. So where do we start? I guess we'll begin with, actually, we're going to begin with Zoltan, Android, and Lao D. The last thing that happened there was the Wujin blasted Zoltan across the room with their forbidden magic. Oh, Wujin being like a forbidden type of sorcerer. Like it's a whole thing, but if you're a Wujin, you're basically like it. A Wujin to these people is like a necromancer is to like a school of wizards, right? Like it's forbidden magic type of thing. Yeah, they blasted you across the room and then escaped, leaving Zoltan laying there just like on the ground, having gotten popped, and Android and Lao D just standing there like having witnessed everything. So yeah, and Chu Mi is laying there on the bed just kind of like, because she almost died, so she just looks completely frightened. And she jumps from the bed just quickly, and runs over to you, Zoltan, and she's just like, oh no, like she's checking you to make sure you're like still alive. Like are you okay? Are you okay?
I was muted, my bad.
Oh, okay. I was like, kick the rust off. Yeah, so she's like, are you okay? Are you okay?
Yeah. I'm sad. I got bitched.
Loudy is just like, what? What was that? Was that a Woojin? And he's asking you, Zoltan.
Yeah.
He's like, why would a Woojin be trying to kill your fiance?
I don't know.
He's like, you must have some idea. You can, Android, you can particularly tell more so than Zoltan right now that Loudy's kind of going into his detective mode. His tone doesn't sound nearly as much like he's concerned as much as he sounds kind of suspicious. Like, you know what I mean? He's being more of a detective than he is a concerned friend, if you will, you know? He's like, as he asks Zoltan, he's like, why? You must have some idea. A Woojin wouldn't just attack Chu-Mi, who's clearly got nothing to do with this, for no reason whatsoever.
Hmm.
Is that your response? Hmm?
Yeah,
Go.
I'm thinking now.
Yeah. He's yeah. He's not impressed with this answer. Loudy is not impressed with that at all. He's like, He's like, how did you say you met her again? And then he kind of eyes you now.
Android is there?
Yeah, Android's there.
Android's like, I'm not sure how we met her initially, but I bought her for him.
He looks at you and he says, well, yes, that much I'm aware of. Because I was there when you had the conversation with Kotokai about her. Yes. That much I'm aware of. And while I thought that was just a strange happenstance, and yes, true love prevails and all of that, I understand that. You know, it is not uncommon for some people who have much to fall in love with those who have so little. It's what you would call a fairy tale, as it were. But my question is, how did you meet her?
This was when I wouldn't say I met her. She was controlled by magic when I found her in my room snooping around.
He says, ah. As if like some kind of like puzzle pieces are now just fitting together in his mind. I see. So, let me understand this straight. You just happen to find some random woman who is being controlled by magic. What kind of magic, I wonder? He says more of like, it's a rhetorical question. Like, he's not really expecting an answer for that, you know? As he like eyes Chu-Mi critically now. He's like, what kind of magic, I wonder? You just happen to find this random girl searching around in your room controlled by magic, and you decide that, how do I put this politely? You use your base instincts instead of your critical thinking. And now she's a part of your group and has all the knowledge of our whereabouts and what we're up to at all times. And just happens to get bought by Android here for you. And now a Woojin has snuck into her room to execute her. And nobody finds that strange. And now he looks from Zoltan to Android, back to Zoltan. He goes, correct me if I'm wrong here. Does any of this sound strange to anyone else?
Oh, it's not that I don't think it sounds strange. It's just that I'm used to people trying to kill me.
But they weren't trying to kill you, Android. They were trying to kill her. And he points at her without even looking at her.
Fair enough, but I just assume that's because they're trying to keep us from getting too close to them, so that they don't have to try and kill us. Because we're probably more of a headache than what they want to deal with.
That's that's one interesting theory.
That was just my line of thinking.
Well, allow me to present you with another. Just, you know. It could also be that she has become a liability for somebody, and now they're trying to clean up after themselves. If I'm not wrong, your friend Agaragus said that when they and Zoltan have both reported having seen a Wujin at least several times now moving about this palace. And now, but we've not been able to track them down except for just a few clues. And now they've left what I believe to be a huge footprint behind themselves. And he motions to Chumi again. Says if we were smart, we would just lock her up and let her know nothing else of what we're doing or what we're up to. Until we can be sure that she's not actually working for this Wujin. And he's saying it more like it's not a polite suggestion. Let me put it to you like that. You know what I mean? Like, he's halfway, like, convinced that that's what he ought to do, regardless of how anyone else feels about it. You know? There's something about him that seems really critical right now. Almost like he's been shaken somehow. You know? He doesn't seem to be acting quite like himself. Normally, Lao D is pretty quiet and reserved, but this seems to be bothering him a little bit for some weird reason.
Andric kind of starts scratching the back of his neck a little bit, thinking about it, and he's like, well, I do agree with you. And at the very least, carrying her around with us all the time puts her in harm's way for sure. Is there anywhere that you can think of that we can kind of, for lack of a better word, store her? You know, for now, that would be safe and humane, I guess? Because another problem is that if we leave her somewhere, we might show back up and she could be just dead.
He says, well, I certainly don't want her dead because she seems to be a lead for sure. He says we could find a quiet place and interrogate her to see what she knows for sure. And when he suggests that, she says, if I may, and he says and he cuts her off completely. He says, there's no talking your way out of this. He looks at Zoltan and he says, what do you think? She's your bride, correct? How much do you think that is a genuine thing and not just a plot against this group?
I would hope that it wasn't just a full plot, because if it is, then there will be consequences that follow for it.
Well, Zoltan, here's a hard lesson for you sometimes, buddy. You can hope in one hand and shit in the other.
As you guys are saying this, she like instantly like buries herself in your hand, Zoltan, and like you can feel her tears are like running down from her face into your palms as she buries her face into your hands, and she's like, no, my lord, no, I swear, everything I've said And the way I feel is true for you. I swear it. I swear it.
I'm not just immediately calling her a liar. I'm just saying, be weary. Always be weary.
Alrighty.
You hear Loud D's knuckles kind of pop, and he says, if she is lying, an interrogation will get it out of her. That much I promise. Says, we have...
You just gonna beat the shit out of her, Loudy? Android just kind of chuckled a little bit.
He says,
I'm not judging. I'm just think it's funny.
He says, the Dragoon have very little policy, or we give very little quarter to treachery, such as this. He's like, it's not something I enjoy doing. Let me put it to you like this. I've never enjoyed these types of interrogations, especially not when they are women. However, we can't really afford to be gentle when Mazaru's life is at stake now, can we?
No, fair enough.
That's when Chumi, she pipes in and she goes, I don't even remember being controlled. How would I know what the Woojin is even planning if I don't even remember having been controlled in the first place? The last thing I remember that day was cleaning, and then suddenly I'm inside Zoltan's room and he's snapping me out of it. Loudy says, likely story.
Man, where's Otis when you need him?
Yeah, Otis would be like, no, this is not what we're doing.
Zone of truth.
Yeah, zone of truth.
Alrighty, I'll be right back.
Where are you going?
Father, grab food real quick.
All right. Loudy kind of looks at you, Android, and he says, well, actually, I was going to tell Zoltan to roll this, but since he's going to go grab some food, Android, you can roll a sense motive from what she's saying right now, if you want.
Okay. Big bet.
Yeah. She is...
I'd do it.
Yeah, she is terrified right now. You can tell, right? Which isn't necessarily an omission of guilt. In fact, there is a definite abundance of sincerity in what she's trying to say to you guys. She's just so scared that it's coming out like somebody who's more panicked because of their guilt than anything else. But you can kind of tell, like, you can see the sincerity in what she's trying to say, that she, for all intents and purposes, it feels like she's telling you the truth, that, like, even if she was under control of this Woojin, it doesn't seem like she actually was ever even aware of it. And that's
well, fair enough.
I'm back.
So, and as she's saying this, Loudy just looks and he says, well,
She says, hi, papito chilo más grande.
yeah. Loudy just looks at you, Android, because, like, he can't say this quietly to Zoltan without her hearing it. And he's very suspicious of her, but he says, I am just here to assist you. That was my initial intent, and that's what I shall follow through with. So I'm going to leave the call up to you and Zoltan on what to do with her. Whether we put her away somewhere safe, or we just continue to take her with us from here on out, or you allow me to converse with her. What do you think?
Well, I don't think it's necessarily wrong to converse with her, but I don't think it's necessary to torture her, to interrogate her.
Beat that bitch.
I believe her when she says she doesn't really know much about the situation. She doesn't seem like she has any reason to lie.
He cocks a single eyebrow and he at you for a minute, and he looks over his shoulder at her and Zoltan as she sits there crying in his hands. Zoltan, you go ahead and roll a sense motive as well.
Oh Lord.
He says, "Oh Lord."
Trick. Woof that trick.
Hold up. Let me. If it, if roll 20 doesn't want to be slow, that'd be quite nice.
If you weren't looking at big tentacled fucking porn all the time.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
Why are you hating on my taste? You gotta change it up every now and
Oh
then.
my gosh.
Fair enough. To be fair.
To be fair.
I mean, he's not wrong. You can't watch big titty hookers every day.
I mean, what?
Kind of gets old. You're like, all right, yeah, floppy.
Okay.
I've seen 100 floppy titties now. I guess I'll do like one normal size titty.
Zoltan?
Huh?
Fair enough. Something about her seems really sincere to you as well. Like, you don't 100% know why the Wujin chose to attack her, per se. And you have to admit that what Lao Di is saying makes some sense. However, there is a type of sincerity in what she's saying when she says she doesn't really know what's going on. She has no idea why she was attacked. She doesn't really remember even having been mind controlled the way that she was. Like, she's just... To you, she does seem like a peasant girl who just found herself caught in this situation, and she really is relying on you for protection. Like, you feel that with every sob she makes and the way she, like, holds your hands. And,
help me, Daddy.
Yeah, well, seriously, like, with every sob, with the way she holds your hands and the way she calls you her lord and everything, like, you believe it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're honestly not even thinking so much with your anatomy as much as you're thinking with your heart in this sense. Like, there is a sincerity there as she says it to you. You believe her. So when Lao Di looks at you and he says, "Well, Zoltan, she is your bride. What do you suggest? Do I interrogate her? Do we just lock her away somewhere? Or do we just bring her with us for her safety, knowing there's a chance she's working for who's ever behind all of this?"
I don't feel like dragging her along with us because that does also put her at risk for if we do run into any form of trouble. But I would say the way you mentioned interrogating her does seem a little bit too much, in my opinion.
Says, I see. So then you all just want to hide her away somewhere. Is that the general consensus then? Says, well, the great hare certainly owes you a favor, does he not?
That he does.
Well, I'm sure he would guard her with his life then. Him and his bonsai.
That's good thinking.
What a lad.
Says, well, I would much rather make sure that she's not on their side, but we'll do what we have to, I suppose.
Who wants to get the whips and chains out?
He says, if you all trust me, I will escort her over there myself. I will guard her with my life and make sure she's okay. And you gentlemen can get some rest. If there's no disagreements with this. I understand if you don't want to leave her in my care long enough to do this, but I assure you, since you've asked me not to interrogate her, I won't.
Well, should we... What was the consensus about looking for Garricus?
Oh, yes. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, apparently your friend is lost, or they never. Agaricus never showed up to the meeting spot to get picked up.
Excuse me.
They returned some time ago and said that they weren't there, and they had to leave because they didn't want to get spotted themselves. So there's a good chance your friend is stuck at the farm right now, possibly being tortured. There's also a good chance that your friend is hiding over there at the farm right now and just couldn't sneak away long enough to meet up at the spot.
You reckon we go looking for him?
Says I suppose we could do that. He says, on the way we could drop her off with the bonsai. If that would be easiest.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
He says, fair enough, I'll go make the arrangements now. He says, why don't you all relax for a little bit while I go and fetch us a ride over there to the farms, and I'll send for the bonsai. They can just meet us here. It'll be easiest that way, instead of having to make a special trip to take her over there. I will be back. And with that, he just kind of he seems like he's returned back to his normal self, but something about that just seemed off, you know? I'll allow you guys to roll another sense motive if you want.
Can I pull out my stone and examine it?
Okay.
Yeah, you sure may. You sure may examine him.
And I will also do that.
So, Zoltan, you pull out your stone and you look at Lao D, and you don't see that he's got the aura of a Wujin, but he sees you doing that, and he says, Are you kidding me right now?
You told me to be wary.
He goes, well, while you're at it, why don't you look at your bride-to-be as well?
Didn't I already do that?
No,
yeah.
Did you? I don't know. I don't recall you doing that.
Put it in her butt!
I mean,
No, because I remember I looked at her and she said, "Why? What is that?"
oh yeah, that's right.
What are those?
That's right. But Lao D wouldn't know that though, so because that was when you guys were together alone. So that's why he's just telling you that. He's like, "Why don't you inspect her since you're so suspicious now?" And he, and Android, you rolled it. Ooh, you guys rolled really low for that.
Yeah.
So, Zoltan, to you, it just seems like Laudy's being a dick. I mean, like, straight up, like, that's just how you feel about the matter, you know? He's just being a grouch. Android, you've spent the most time with Laudy. You know how his personality normally is. Something seems off about this to you, though. Like, just this sudden mood shift about this one particular matter. Something about it rubs you wrong, but you can't quite put your finger on what it is. Like, he's really good about hiding his like facial mannerisms and stuff like that. So you're not, you're not quite picking up what he's putting down, but there is something off about the cut of his jib, as it were, right now. And that you just can't quite place. As he exits and heads to take care of everything for you and Zoltan. You now have time to rest and take a moment if you guys require. Zoltan, what are you and Chu Mi doing at the moment?
I'm gonna tell her she's gonna go with the bonsai, and that's it.
She goes, I know, my lord. Whatever you command.
You don't have to call me my lord. I said you could just call me Zoltan.
She's like, oh, of course, I'm sorry. She's just, her eyes are all puffy now from having cried, and she just looks sort of dejected, you know what I mean? Like, I think she's like fully aware of how close she came. So we will, we're gonna actually, now, before we get to you, Android, and where you're, what you're gonna do to rest, because we'll just segue that into what's gonna happen after this. We're actually gonna switch over to Zoltan real fast, or Zoltan, Agaragis, right now. Just to see what Agaragis is doing, What is that Agaragis up to now? So Agaragis, if you remember correctly, you were at the farmhouse, and you decided you just head straight due south. You're like, oh, I'll just walk back to the city, and you just started walking south, southeast, as it were, to try and head back, So you've been walking a little while, and you like, I don't even know how to approach this, because you straight up I'm sorry, you straight up just went just off into the wilderness. But yeah, so you get to walking, and it isn't long before you realize that there's a lot of forest in between you and your set destination. How much forest you can't be for sure, because it's not like you've got this like what's the word I'm looking for? It's not like you can see the horizon. You're not at some vantage point where you can see like for miles or anything. You're like in the forest as you're traveling through the forest. So who knows how long this forest could go for. But because you chose to do this earlier, we're kind of rewinding back in time a little bit for your section. Everything that's happening with Android and Zoltan hasn't necessarily happened yet while this is going on with you. And so the sun is still up, kind of. It's hanging low in the sky, and soon night will fall. And so you're trying to clear as much distance as you possibly can before it gets too dark within the forest, and then you may get really lost. Pretty soon, though, I want you to do me a favor and roll me a listen. Because you guys are sharing, does Agaragis actually have a way of rolling right now, or? Okay. Just curious. I was going to say, because I can do that if I need to, but. Oh, what?
Wario.
Okay, so. Just right off in the distance, you can hear something. It begins kind of faint at first. But it isn't before long you can hear it. And had you not heard it before, you might not have even had noticed this, but because you caught this faint sound, you actually like look off to your we'll say right hand side, I guess. You look off into your right hand side and you can see now through the forest and the bushes what looks like something is disturbing the shrubbery, as it were, headed right towards you. And as it gets closer, the sound now is getting louder. But because you noticed it so far off, you have time to react. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna climb up a tree.
Okay. Okay. Roll a climb for me.
There's one of those.
It's not snowy.
There is a climb. Now, Agaragis, you do remember that you have that ring that will boost your stats, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do now. Thank you for reminding me. It's been a while, so I thought I'd be fair. To you.
I was supposed to probably say stuff before I hit that, huh?
Well, yeah, because you would have to activate it. I don't know what. I think climb is actually a strength and not a dex, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so you would have to activate the.
I'm a big mushroom.
The red aura, the bull strength, and that would have given you a +4 to this.
Come on, guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okie dokie.
Yeah. Well,
16 ain't bad.
15
right?
ain't bad. Well,
16.
16. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you have to use
I
that
mean-
connotation, it's never good.
I mean, it would have been a 20 had you activated your ring. Which would have been better. You make it halfway. You do manage to make it like halfway up a tree, right? But because
It's a spider mushroom.
you didn't activate your ring, so you're just trying to go on pure strength, and it's not bad. 16's not a bad roll for whatever. I've seen much smaller children climb trees faster than a lot of adults, right? So I mean, I'm not even counting in just your size per se, although your stubby legs and arms don't help. But you're like trying to climb up this tree, and you're just like, oh, and you make it halfway up. You don't actually make it up into the branches or anywhere necessarily safe though, before you see this thing come bursting out of the bushes. It looks like a pig. It's got these big old freaking tusks. Like you never. Well, to be fair, Agaragis has never seen anything like this because creatures like this do not exist in the underground. But it is for all intents and purposes, it would be a boar, only instead of it just being a wild boar, instead of fur coming off of it, it looks like it's actually growing like grass out of its skin, as if like grass is its form of fur. It is an odd sight to behold, but I guess you could say because Agaragis is fascinated by nature and alchemy and things of that nature. You did own a garden and everything. The sight of a creature that literally is a gigantic chia pet, A very large chia pet. It could be a fascinating sight to it. However, and it would be even more fascinating, I'm sure, if it didn't look like it was just absolutely vicious. You know? But yeah, it's big. It honestly, for all intents and purposes, its skin looks like it's made out of wood. Its fur looks like it's made out of grass. It's just a boar, you know? And it's just sitting there. It stops like instantly and starts like smelling the air, just kind of as if it senses something there. And you're like halfway up the tree. What do you want to do? It has not spotted you yet.
Can I jump down onto it and start eating the grass?
Well,
That's an answer.
in order to pull something like that off, you would have to climb further up the tree and get onto a branch and work your way over to the branch and then try to fall down onto it, because it's not quite that close to you yet to where you could just kick off where you are from the tree and land on it. You know what I'm saying? It just came up out of these bushes. It's not even really near your tree, but there is enough overhang from the branches of the tree you're climbing that you could possibly shimmy out onto one of those branches and drop onto it, assuming it doesn't want to move.
I'm just gonna say this. You pull this off, I'm gonna send Android money to go buy you a cookie. This is cookie worthy if you pull this off.
We just made a batch of oatmeal raisin cookies.
We're about to have another batch if you can make this happen.
Alright.
That sounds entertaining as fuck. Live or die, I do not care. This sounds fun. Do it.
He just wants to try the grass.
So you wanna try and climb this tree and shimmy out and land on the thing's back?
Yeah. Do you think it's ham flavored?
I think it is now. I believe it is now.
That is now lore.
It is now canon, yeah.
Yeah.
Strips of bacon.
Oh, yummy. I'd be out there eating my yard right now.
Bro,
That's what I'm saying.
if lettuce only tasted like that.
Yeah. Nobody ever tries to make meat that tastes like vegetables, but everybody tries to make vegetables that taste like meat. You ever notice that?
Because they have no desire for things that taste good.
So, Agaragis, you're gonna have to pull off a few rolls here, and you're gonna have to decide which roll how you wanna activate your ring, because you will have to move silently as you climb, right? But move silently is a dexterity, so you're gonna either have to activate the cat's grace to climb up that tree and around that tree quietly, or you're going to have to activate your bull strength so you can climb more effectively to do it, but you may be loud. It is really up to you how you want to do it. But you're going to have to climb and move silently. So I'm going to need 2 rolls, but I need to know which aura you want to activate first.
Can I do, is it cat's grace?
Yeah, cat's grace is the dexterity, so that would help with the moving silently, yes.
Yeah.
It won't help you in the climb, but it'll help you in the move silently. Alright, so you activate your blue aura, and go ahead and roll a... Well, first of all, roll a climb for me. Let's see how
What'd
you
you
do.
say, sorry?
First of all, roll a climb for me. Let's see how you do on this. Watch her hit a natural 20. Watch her just completely knock this out of the park.
Bro, shut up before you jinx it.
I know it's a 1. I'd be like, oh, That's Android. Android rolled that.
Oh, why is it?
I told
He's like, I told you.
And
Well,
it,
it is a
it-
nat 20.
it
though.
would have been a 20.
Oh my god.
It is
but-
a nat 20.
But
Don't hold
because
down the thing and talk
Man.
shit to me.
He just stole-
Man,
he just stole your 20. He's like, and I told you.
Damn.
This is a lesson. Always pay attention, kids.
Damn. That ain't right.
That is right.
Like,
He straight up stole your 20. Yeah. He's- you got. Hey, Garrigus, what have we learned? What have we learned here? What have we
so
learned?
that wasn't me, and so therefore I say that I get to reroll.
Go ahead and roll the moose silently for me, real fast, too. Just
Oh,
kinda,
come on.
don't roll for Android though. You know, because Android's not actually climbing right now. So,
I was on his
and Android's having dreams about climbing an entire mountain like a boss man right now.
big and stay dreams.
Like he completely leaped a building with a single bound in his mind. That's hilarious. I can't believe I called that too. I said that next roll is going to be a 20. Oh man.
Well,
Well, that's really good. Plus 4, so 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's like a what a
Oh yeah.
yeah. What is that? Plus 4? What is that? 31? Something like that? My math is atrocious. You all know this, but I'm pretty sure they just hit a 31. I'm going to open up my calculator. I don't know why I'm tripping. Yeah, but yeah. Needless to say, you are moving as quietly as you possibly can, which is fortunate for you because you are having a heck of a time getting up that tree. You are like trying to scramble up it and you lose your footing and you slide right down it and roll backwards, just and just kind of somersault backwards, you know. Butt over
into the door.
butt over tea kettle. No, not into the bore. You rolled the opposite direction. But with all that said and done, you managed to do that just quietly enough that I will allow you to roll a tumble to see on whether or not you end up on your actual butt or if you manage to get your footing enough that when you tumble backwards, you get your footing and land on your feet. Like end the tumble on your feet or on your back. And you've got Cat's Grace activated, so you'll get a +4 to this. So that's fortunate. Because you sure ain't climbing very good. Android is. Ooh.
Well,
25. So you actually managed to somehow you managed to Legend of Zelda it, and you're just like "Ugh!" and poof, up onto your feet as you land, but you've got a sore posterior, you know, you're just kind of rubbing your butt a little bit like ow. But you did it all quietly, and the boar kind of looks around for a minute and starts kind of the tree itself is blocking its vision from you, or it can't see you because you're on the opposite side of the tree, but it begins walking, starts marching towards the left, just kind of turns to the left and starts walking and sniffing the ground a little bit and looking around. Pretty soon it will have an angle on you where it can see you, though. I want you to think of the idea that you are on the opposite side of the tree, and now think Metal Gear Solid. It's patrolling now, and pretty soon it will have the angle to be able to see you around that corner of the tree. What would you like to do?
Can I like? So it's going around the tree, and I'm on like one side of the tree, right?
Well, it's not coming around the tree as much as it's just walking off to the right of where it's at. You see what I'm saying? Like it turned right and is marching, patrolling to the right. Kind of just sniffing around, kind of looking around. But it's not coming around the tree to your position. But from where your position is, right now all it can see is a tree. Because you are on the opposite side of it. It's turned right, is walking, and pretty soon, because of the diagonal of where you'll be to its position, it will be able to see around that tree and see you. Think of like an isosceles triangle.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
And the tension builds. Will Agaragis be able to survive yet another horrendous situation that they have put themselves into? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. Actually, this is always fun because Agaragis is always the underdog in these situations. and they are always like just thinking their way out of it, like, oh no, this is not good. Shoot, when you got kidnapped that one time, you almost escaped that. You almost didn't even get kidnapped. You just had that one bad roll that effed you. What are we thinking here, Agaragis? What are we
I'm
thinking?
looking for something. Hold on.
Oh. Looking into your bag of tricks, are we?
Okay, 2 things.
Okay.
So what I wanted to do, I was looking for my potions because I did write them down, but I thought I wrote them down in the little thing on here,
Mm-hmm.
on Roll20. But I'm probably wrote it down on a sticky note on my computer instead. So now I don't have that actually right now because it's at the other house.
Slave.
Mm.
So I found, Android was trying to help me find it, and yeah, we looked all over and couldn't find it. So we decided on I decided on something different. So
What's that?
So, I know that I don't have a special thing for my little shoes that will do this, but will they help me in some sort of way of, like, running over onto the, like, I want to keep my cat Grace and then run over to the boar and on top of him from, like, behind. And then shove his hair in my mouth.
You're stuck on shoving that hair in your mouth. Okay.
And, yeah, like, dig my heels in him, almost like...
You
pleats.
want to try and ride him. Is what it is, right?
I'm gonna try to mount him.
Yeah. Depends on how you want to go about that. What is your move speed exactly?
Amazing.
Yeah. You wish, but let's see here. Well, no, because of your... Okay, so your speed is 20.
Ah.
I'm just thinking. So that's 20 feet. From that tree. There. Okay, so yeah, you could in essence, because you don't have to actually own this as a feat per se. You just have to do it to where there is an improved bull rush, is what it is, right?
Yep.
So that's a feat. So yeah, you can bull rush this thing, which will double your speed and allow you to kick up your legs just enough to rush this thing and, basically bump into him, and then we can roll. A few things are going to have to get rolled there. You're going to have to roll to see if you don't just instantly bounce off of him when you do. For one.
Do I have to run into him? Because I just want to hop on top of him.
Well, you're from where he's at right now, he's at least 35 feet from your position. You can only move 20 feet. However, there is another option you have, and that is the fact that he hasn't seen you yet. So you can try and sneak away and around the tree and get up behind him and sneak up on behind him and climb up onto him if you want. And these shoes, let's see, the trotters here. Well, that is Mount Ally. This thing definitely isn't your ally, but it doesn't matter.
Can he be an ally since I haven't agitated him yet? I'm a mushroom. I'm friends with all things of the forest.
Man.
Right?
Man, where's Otis when you need him?
Here's here's the thing. It's not no. It's making me laugh. I'm trying my hardest to hold back just unending laughter right now because that's funny. Is it not an ally because I haven't agitated yet? That's not quite an ally because, let me put it to you like this: whether you've agitated it or not, it's your best interest is not on its mind. You see what I'm saying? It's just not a threat. Well, no, it's even a threat. It's still a threat, and that's why it's not an ally, because whether it's agitated, whether it's noticed you and has become agitated or not, it's a threat, because if it does see you, you're going to roll initiatives and have to try and kill this thing that outweighs you at least by 100 or more pounds. So no, the boots won't help you per se, but you can still sneak up behind it and get a catch it by surprise and try to climb up onto its back if you want. I won't say you can't climb up onto its back. It's just not going to be, you just can't use the Mount Ally thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's okay.
Which would be an automatic. If you could use the Mount Ally, that would be an automatic. You're on its back now, but it's not an ally, so you're gonna have to roll another climb.
Or you could just let things slide.
I mean, I could. I'm not going to, but I could. Yeah. I mean, you're right. You are right. I'm not disagreeing with you in that. Yeah. I could let that slide. I could just be like, "Oh, yeah, But I mean, to be fair, I didn't put you here. You put you here,
Well, no, hold on. You put me here in this situation, though.
You're wandering around in the wilderness of a foreign country that you have never been to. In fact, every country is a foreign country to you right now. You come from underground.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I don't know how else to. I mean, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
As long as you're aware of that, then all right. Let's rock and roll. But yeah, you're gonna have to roll a move silently.
To be able to jump up on. Yeah.
To sneak up behind him. You're gonna roll something else to try and jump up on him. I know what you're trying to do, and that's not gonna work.
I'm gonna do it.
I know. That's not. Let me look up something here because it is gonna get a spot check on you this time. So far, you've managed to be out of its way just enough to where it wouldn't necessarily see you, but it would possibly have a chance of seeing you now. So we're gonna give him one chance.
Okay, should I go ahead and do the move silently?
Yeah, go ahead and roll the move silently. Yeah.
One to five?
Actually, I'm going to roll a listen for him instead. Because you're doing a move silently, so I'm going to say that you moved out of the way so he wouldn't necessarily see, but he might accidentally hear you. Is what we'll do for that. Actually, just to be fair and not just completely like, you know, be that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, I'm just gonna... I'm gonna show everybody this series of rolls. So everybody understands what's going on right now. And I'm gonna show the stats and everything, because I don't really care if y'all know what I had to roll to do this. I know some DMs are like, oh no, you can't know these stats. Well, I don't care.
Agarius got spotted.
They got heard. So Agaricus, you begin to sneak away like, oh shoot, and then you just kind of step on a branch and it goes a twig and it goes crack, and you see the boar just kind of flinch for a minute and spin around and look at you, and it's like and it gets down to charge you. Go ahead and roll initiatives. Let's go ahead and do that. Go ahead and roll an initiative.
Forgot where it was at, my bad.
It's okay. I was just singing that song anyways. I'm not actually like being like, you know, I'm not trying to hurry you or anything. You good.
Can I get a token?
You do have a token. You don't see your token there?
It said you attempted to use a roll.
Oh, here. I don't know why it does that, man. Every freaking time with these things, I've got to. Yeah, it should say represented by Agaricus, controlled by, determined by character settings. update. What the crap? They changed something on here again. I don't know what.
No, she just wasn't seeing it on screen.
Oh,
We
she
got it
wasn't?
figured out.
Okay, so it works now? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, then. Well, let me save the settings on that then. And, okay. Ooh. So you got a 13. Okay. So. That is... What the crap? Dude. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. So it's gonna go before you. You got a 13, it got an 18.
I think you're cheating.
I am not. Do you want to see it? I'll show you it.
I call hacks.
I will show you it right now. I'm even going to show you what the last few rolls have been.
Show me your mod menu.
I don't have a mod menu. See?
That's what they all
There's you
say.
trying to move silently. There's you failing. Then this is what I rolled for his deal. And then this is what you rolled for your initiative, and that's been the last few rolls. See? I've got nothing to hide. This is just a really unfortunate series of events for you right now. Yeah, so yeah, he's gonna charge you. Yeah, he's just gonna straight up charge you. I mean, like, I don't know. Yeah. He gets down and he just starts barreling towards you, and he's actually gonna go for a bull rush, actually. Which, yeah, I mean, let me well, let me check something about it. You're like, but
But what about me?
okay, so +4, -4. Let's see. Oh, okay. So roll a strength check. So that'll, I guess. Yeah, so on your character sheet, just go to strength. If it'll open it up. Yeah, there you go. Okay, +4. So, ooh. Oh my gosh, are you serious? No freaking way. Let me make sure I'm saying that number correctly.
Absolutely.
You literally, yeah. You'd have had a +8 if you had initiated your bear strength right now. But that's a +20. That's not bad. You rolled a straight up 20. That's pretty freaking good, actually. That might stop him. I don't know. Let me look at his sheet right now. That would be so freaking crazy, though. 'Cause, like, yeah. How does... yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh. So,
I'm a winner.
hey Gergus, do you have any do you have any points? What do you call it? Just out of curiosity, do you have any of the... what's that called?
Heroic points?
Yeah, do you have any heroic points?
Let me check my notes.
Okay. I, for some freaking reason, cannot find where I have the heroic points written down. Ah, no. Well, I know how they work anyways. I'm not worried about it.
I don't see one in here, but I don't know if I'm looking in the right places.
Well, would you have written it down here, or would you have written it down on or would you have written it down on a notepad on your other computer?
It might be on my other computer. I just don't want to tell you a lie, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's a shame that we don't know that for sure, because you could have, yeah. So I'm gonna tell you this right now. He beat you by 1 point.
Whatever.
You rolled a 20. He rolled a
This
21.
this whole thing.
Yeah, you are very unlucky tonight, and normally you are the luckiest one in the group.
Alright, that means all of you are gonna have... Oh, 1 second. Let me check something.
Mm. What are you checking?
Oh, she does have heroic points. It's written. She found them. It's written under other, underneath of her spore pool.
Oh,
She has 9 of them.
Oh, dang it. All right. Well, and I told her how many she needs to use to...
Dang it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, you have that feat that has, you know, the luck thing, you know? And I was like, let me go see what it's called. It's called Better Lucky Than Good. I was getting ready to read up on it, but no, she has heroic points right there. She saw it as I was getting ready to go into another tab.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the
She-
spore
yeah.
pool right there, yeah. All right, then. Well, but you'd have to use two heroic points to actually beat his points, because you got to be higher. Unless you got a better dexterity than he has. So you can risk that and hope that you have a better dexterity, or you can use two heroic points. Ha ha! I still got you. Long live me.
Is that?
How much does my catchphrase add to my dexterity?
Because right now she's got a temporary 4 put on it.
Yeah, it's
But I don't
your
know if that's from
dexterity.
catchphrase.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, she's got a lot of temporary things. She hasn't been turning it off.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know how to.
Yeah, I'm
You just
fixing.
removed that 4.
Yeah, I'm just
Oh.
removing these other temps. Right now your dexterity is an 18. which isn't bad. That's a good dex.
That is a good dex. That's up to you.
I also don't mind using her. Her coins that speak, but I don't know if somebody else.
Fair enough.
So
I mean, it's just 2 of them. You have 9.
I really want.
Well, then use 2 of them. Eat that grass. I don't know.
All right, I'm using the points.
The 2 points, or you're going for the dex?
The 2 points.
Okay, so you beat his roll. So, oddly enough, he comes bull rushing you, but his legs are so wobbly that you actually plant your feet, and as he comes trying to charge you, you actually use his own momentum against him, and you drop to your back and use all your strength to just let him kind of roll over the top of you as you just kind of boom, and he goes right over the top of you as you grab him and just kind of throw him, and he just boom, hits the ground and goes rolling away onto his side, and he's knocked prone now, just laying on his side, and you're up and boom, like to your feet, staring at this boar who's like maybe 10 feet away from you now, or 15 feet away from you now. And it's actually your turn now.
Wait, 1 second. Am I technically like elastic? You know what I mean?
No. I mean, your skin is...
He said, no.
Well, I mean, your skin is rubbery, yeah, but you're not really elastic, per se. Why? What are you thinking?
Oh,
Tell me
like
what you're
stretchy?
thinking.
Okay.
Tell me what you're
Can I
thinking.
just like go over and eat him? Like swallow him whole like a snake?
No, you're not Kirby.
Ugh.
She sounded so dejected by that. She was like, I'm going Kirby on his ass.
The sound of disappointment.
Yeah, no, that... no, I can't justify that in my mind. As cool as that sounds, no, I can't justify it in my mind.
You need to make it more epic, and then he'll justify it.
It needs to make sense. It needs to make sense. I unless you earn that somehow, you'll do that to every enemy from here on out. Yeah.
Okay, well. Is he knocked out?
No, he's gonna be on his feet his next turn.
Okay. How far away am I from him?
15 feet.
And you said my reach is 20?
Your move speed is 20. Your reach is
Oh.
your reach is 5. Yeah, you could move 20 feet, which is 4 squares basically. He's at least 3 away from you.
What about jumping?
You want to try and jump a space to him? Well, that
What,
would
can I jump on him from there?
I mean,
Like a run and jump?
you are always you are allowed to play as much D&D as you like, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, you can give that a shot. You can definitely give that a shot. I will tell you, jump is a strength skill. It's not a dexterity feat or skill. So you will be just working with what your strength is as your modifier for it. If that makes any sense to what I'm saying. Like if you want the +4 to this, like what the ring's been helping you do, you will have to switch ability to do it. You'll have to go from Cat's Grace
Wait.
to Bull Strength or whatever it is.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Because I don't know.
Okay.
You want to do that?
Oh, I do want to do that, but does that take a turn?
Well, it's your turn now, anyways.
Well, right, but if I switch my rank, that means I can't like run and jump.
No, I believe
Okay.
that's a full action. Or I believe that's a free action, not a full action. If I'm not mistaken, I believe switching your auras doesn't require any extra action out of you.
Oh, okay. Well, all right then. Yes, I would like to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a free action. Okay, so you switch to your bull strength.
Yeah.
Okay, so you would get rid of that 4 in your dex, and you would put it in your strength now. Effectively making... Okay, so that's gonna give you a... Okay, go for it.
Okay, what do I do?
You just roll a jump. A jump skill.
Okay, you said do what? Sorry.
Just roll a jump in your skills page.
Oh.
All right, let's see what you got here. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm looking at mine. Oh my gosh, that's still really good though. I saw mine. I saw 21 and I was like, holy crap. And then I realized, that's still good though. Rolled a 17.
Yeah.
That's 5 away. Okay. So you, you jump for him, right? Like you try to jump on him, but you don't quite clear the distance completely. You manage to land right in front of him. But you're right in front of him. Like he's close enough to you now where you could reach out and grab him if you wanted. You don't mess up the jump or anything. The jump is good. You land clean. You're just a little... It's just a little short. Like you give it all you got, but you don't quite make it to on top of him. Landing just like poof, right in front of him. You're not in front of his face, mind you. He's laying on his side, so like I want you to think of like he's laying down on the ground, and you're at where his back would be, like his spine and all that. You know, he's on his side because he rolled. So you're not looking him in the eyes. You're right at his back.
Is he like he knows where I'm at and he's lucid, right?
Oh yeah, he's well aware that somehow you just made him look stupid. Yeah. He's well aware of where your position is. He he's kind of like when a dog lays down on its side. You know, he's laying long ways. You're where you landed, you're effectively making like a T shape from where you are and the way he's laying. He's laying long ways or sideways, and you're standing long ways. So you're not at his head. You're sitting along the spine of his back.
Okay, can I like grab some of like the grass and like shove it into my like little like vial,
Yeah.
and then like grab a hold of him with my hands and my mouth.
You're gonna have to choose one or the other. You can grab the grass, pick it off of him, and shove it into your vial, or you can grab a hold of him right now and bite him and hold on to him.
I'm gonna do the grass in the vial.
Okay. So you yank. Roll me an attack real quick. Just roll a melee attack for me. I count that as just a touch attack is what that's gonna be. So if you scroll down, you'll see where it says melee. Just roll that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you definitely hit him. So you grab a handful of grass off of his back, which is like fur, and you yank it off. And when it does, you hear it go because you yank so much off of it, you know, like you're treating it like you're tearing grass out of the ground, right? But to it, it's like yanking hair off its head. You even yank some skin off of its back and everything, and it's bleeding. Like you've left a bald patch on its back now that you see it's all bleeding and everything now from it. Like you realize as plant-like as this creature seems, this particular boar seems, it is very organic. You know what I mean? Like you have literally, and it even makes like a cracking because its skin is like bark. So it's like you just snapped a twig as you yanked this grass out of the ground and left like some meaty flesh underneath, just a bald patch of meaty bleeding flesh as you're just crack. And it's like, ah! As you pull the vial out and stuff all that goodness in there and, you know, store it back. Yeah, and that's your turn, because now it takes that pain and it jumps up to its feet as the sun begins to finally set and go down. And it looks as ever pissed off as it possibly could at you. You know? But we're gonna actually jump over to Uquill right now. and leave that on a cliffhanger for a moment.
Right, but
Uquill.
Mm-hmm.
You have just passed the final or the second trial of the Jingzhou.
Final countdown.
But yeah, you find yourself standing in that dark, cavernous area now. Finally having the ancestors out of your head, you know, and when you come to and everything, you see the four of them standing there around you again. And just as a reminder of who the ancestors are, they are known as the Dragoon below, but they are, in fact, dragons, which is fascinating because you had believed dragons to be extinct. But they're not chromatic dragons. These dragons are different, you know? You've got Chronipsis, who is a prismatic dragon. You got Falazur, who is a shadow dragon. Garrix, who is a force dragon. And Lo, who is a wind dragon, you know? And They stand there now before you in all their glory. And they say,
And all of it?
yeah, in all of it. Every last bit of it. Nothing is hidden from your sight with them right now. You are correct in your assumptions. As they stand there before you, though, and they say in unison that you have passed this trial. Congratulations, you.
Oh, sweet.
Now, you will be a part of the final trial. And then after that's done, they all just kind of sigh a breath of relief. They're all just kind of like, oh, well, now that that is over with, they're like, go ahead and pick which one of us you would like to use as a mount for the final trial.
Oh, fuck. Wait, there's one of them that really wasn't my biggest fan.
The Force Dragon, Garrix. The red and charcoal.
And then what was the one that was like, said he found me entertaining? One of them was pretty cool, like pretty chill with me, and then there's the other one that was like indifferent, but he found it humorous.
Okay, so Chronipsis was pretty chill. The prismatic dragon. He is the blue and crystal, the blue and white crystal one.
Yeah.
Falazur, the shadow and green flame dragon. He was the one that kind of found the whole thing entertaining. And then Lo, the wind dragon, you know, who looks like he's like a brownish brass color.
Yeah.
He's the one that was arguing with Garrix all the time. Not necessarily for you. You can just kind of pick up that they have a difference in opinion all the time. You know?
Yeah.
Like they don't. You could tell they don't. If one says up, the other one's gonna say down. It doesn't matter. You know? It ain't so much that one will argue the case for you as much as they're just going to argue with each other for the sake of arguing.
Just for the sake of arguing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Gut says go with the wind dragon because, you know, it usually equals fast. But
Well,
watch it be the one time where it doesn't.
Well, are you curious about what you need to know? Because you are welcome to ask them questions. This is not a trick. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not tricking you about anything. They're going to they will answer any questions that you have about any of it, you know? So
like it's like basically like a race, right?
Which are you asking, all of them, or are you asking one in particular, or how do you?
Yeah, kind of like at this point he's not even like 1,000% sure he knows what, like he understands he's basically going to be riding one of them, but for what end is kind of like the question he's asking. You know, like is it a race? Is it just
when you say that
we're on a long journey? Like what exactly, or you know what I mean?
When you say that out loud to them, because they're all just kind of like murmuring amongst each other now, as you're like, you know, trying to figure this out, and you say that, you're like, this is basically a race. Falazur, the shadow dragon, looks at you and just kind of goes, yes. I suppose you should know that in your language, your common, Jingzhu roughly translates to race. And that's what this is all about. The honor Jingzhu means the honored race. At the end of the day, forget about everything you've gone through. That was just to see if you were worthy enough to enter this race. Because honestly, this is all for us. We want to know who is the best, who is the swiftest, who is the best out of the four of us. And every 30 years, one of us gets to prove it and have the bragging rights for another 30 years. And that's when it hits you that all this is
Is a pissing contest.
is just a pissing contest. This whole thing has been a pissing contest for these four dragons.
So
That is why they agreed to host it, so they could basically have a pissing contest every 30 years.
So who won the last, let's say, 3? Which one of y'all had the bragging rights?
They just kind of snicker and they say, well, and that's when Chronipsis like chimes in. He says, well, to be honest, the one thing that we have found is, if I'm being honest with you, we're only as good as our writer as well. A long time ago, we had to make the decision that if we just relied upon our speed and our skill, our own speed and skill, we would end up killing one another. And
Fair enough.
And Garrick's just kind of chimes in, that's because you all cheat and you know it. I'm the strongest one. And Lo says, oh, please. You couldn't even catch me. You can't even touch me. I'm fast. I'm fast, boy, and you know it.
I'm fast as fuck, boy!
Yeah, basically, like you're seeing, like, they're like, Chronipsis is just like, at the end of the day, all the pretense and the ceremony and all that is more for the people than it is for us. This last challenge is for us. And because you are here now, you are sworn to secrecy. You must never tell them what this final test actually is.
Fair enough.
No one. He goes, but we'll get to those specifics on how we're going to ensure that later. Says for now.
Still doesn't really answer the question though, because it's like, granted, I understand now that I more have a part of making sure this goes off smoothly, but it still doesn't answer who's won the last couple.
It says, well, it depended on the writer, but the last 3.
Yeah, let's just say that many, because he's like, yeah, 3 will be good.
Lo says, I have been the favorite of the champion of the last 3 Jingzhou. He says it all proudly. So I have been the winner of the last 3. And that's when Balazar chimes in. He says, but that's because he's been the favorite. Again, winning or losing really depends on who our rider is and how well you use our abilities in the race.
Equal just kind of, he's like, when the one kind of like does this little, I was the favorite, whatever. Like he's studying the other 3 to see like which one of them has like, I want to take him down a peg the most. You know what I mean? Like, who got the hunger?
Again, Lo says, Tenkai Saozu, the shogun of Huangjiyu, has used me the last 3 Jingzhus to win this. That is what I am telling you. Garrick says, you know what? Forget all that. Choose me. I'd love to put him in his place.
To be fair,
Chronipsis says, well, I suppose we're not doing him any justice by not telling him what each of our special offerings are, per se. I mean, if you're going to make a decision, you should know what each of us can do out there and what this race all entails.
fair.
Says, well, it is a race. Plain and simple. But we race a certain path, and we cannot go out of bounds. There will be hindrances on this race, and nothing is out of bounds. We are allowed to attack and sabotage one another. So I suppose you should know what each of us can do.
Yeah.
Says, all right, well, I offer what is called the Prism Blur. I can blind any one of these fools and make them lose ground in the race. Falazur says, I have the Shadow Whip. As long as the target is within sight, your line of sight, I can use the Shadow Whip and switch places with them. Meaning, we will now be where they are, and they will be where we were. Garrick says, I have Force Bash. I can just, if we ever have to get into actual combat with one of these idiots, all I gotta do is shout, and we'll win. And then that's when Lo says, I have Wind Dash. If we accidentally fall into a trap or an out of bounds area that would otherwise ensnare us, I can right out of it to the other side, losing us no time or positioning whatsoever. Mechanically, these you can only use any one of these skills at only 3 times per race. So you have 3 times per day that you can use. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, what is it? Lo says, I am the fastest. I am fast. That is without a question. And Garrick says, but I am almost just as fast as he is. Almost just as fast as he is. I'm pretty good all around, honestly. And, Chronipsis says, I am not as fast as these two, but I am the strongest willed. So, even when one of my brothers tries to use one of their abilities on me, there is a strong chance I can overcome it, and it will be like it never happened. And Falazur says, but I am the strongest. I'm not as strong-willed as my brother here, as he motions to Chronipsis. He goes, but I can win a lot of combat.
Which one had the whip?
Falazur, the Shadow Dragon.
He was the second fastest?
He's the third. Well, him and Chronipsis are tie in speed. The second fastest would be Garrick's.
Falazur is just kind of like...
Falazur's the strongest. Like, in an
okay.
actual, like, just fisticuff situation, which could happen for you,
Yeah.
which is just opposing strengths. he could win that a lot of the time. And he's also strong-willed, so because you do have a chance that anytime one of these guys uses their special abilities on you, you will get to roll a will to survive it. You see what I'm saying?
Probably shouldn't, but I'm leaning towards him.
But him and Chronipsis are both the third fastest per se. They're both the slowest ones.
It's like his ability. It's unbroken. If I can find a way to make it better. Yeah, I feel like his and well, it was Chronipsis that had the one where he could just fly through shit.
No, that's low. Low can bust out of traps and out of the out of bounds areas. Yeah.
I feel like those are probably the two most broken of the two. Because position swap is always cheating, and I like it.
Yeah.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There is a chance. There is always a chance.
Yeah. Fuck. I'm really gonna regret this. Going with the shadow.
Well, it's in the you're going with the shadow? Okay, so I'm gonna give you the shadow's handout, Balazur's handout, right? I'm gonna let you see it so you know all his abilities and everything. That way you can see it. You know what I'm saying? That way you'll know what you have to roll for each thing. Okay? And if you actually look at the roll 20, you will see what the race actually looks like. You are the shadow, so you will have the red marker. Okay, so you go with Falazur then, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he bows low before you and he says, "Why? Thank you for having the faith in me." He says, hopefully you and I can win this. And possibly shut Lowe's mouth for 30 years. Because you don't know how tiresome that has become.
Yukul just kind of chuckles. He's like, I probably have an idea, thinking of Yucca.
He just smiles and he says, "Oh, well, good then." He says, and they bring you to this mountaintop, right? Up in the mountains. And you go through this long carnivorous cavern, and you just travel upwards and upwards and upwards till eventually you're so high up in the air that you can actually see like miles of mountain range, and then you can see the Forgotten City, but the Forgotten City just looks like a dot. That's how high up you are. And they're like, we host this race so far up, so nobody below us can actually see it take place. Because of our size, we have to be up here so high, or they would know what we're doing, and we just particularly don't want anybody to see.
Yeah.
Eventually, the other honored chosen come out. You know, you remember, there was the Jade mercenary, Lord Daifu, who wore the mask. Yeah, he comes out, and you see that he is joined by the How, basically the monkey man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whose name you still haven't learned. I just realized you never learned this fool's name. He never
told me.
Yeah, he never gave it. Yeah, he never gave it. You never asked. But yeah, he's there. But then you see another peculiar thing, which you did not expect to see. You see Zhang Ye step out instead of Kung Po, the Peng Zhang bear. She comes stepping out in his place or something, you know.
Yeah.
She looks at you, Quill, and she says, "Surprised to see me?"
Yes and no. Unironically.
She said, "I made it here by default. Unfortunately, Kung Po could never make it past the gate." You might not remember, but do you remember when, like, you guys first came up to the mouth of this cave and he...
Yeah, he was fucked.
She said, so to make it at least four champions, they went to who would have made it had, and so on and so forth. If I hadn't made it past the gate and won the third trial, or the second trial, they would have gone to somebody else. But as you can see, I've made it here.
If you hear a mosquito,
And
Can't say I'm excited, can't say I'm displeased. It's like I'm torn between whether I should be happy or sad right now. I'm not sure how to feel about this.
with that, she just kind of smirks and says, "I see." She says, "Well, as flattering as I think that's supposed to be, I have no time for that foolishness."
Uquil just chuckles and he's like, he holds out his hand like he's gonna shake her hand.
She bows.
He's like, right.
She
Touche.
says- She says, "Don't misunderstand me, Uquil. What transpired during the combat round, and I don't regret it one bit. However, I'm here now, and I plan on winning."
Yeah, Uquil just chuckles, winks at her, and he's like, "Oh, I never said I was gonna go easy on you." And he walks towards the monkey man, just leaving it at that. He's like, "Monkey!"
He just gives you a look like, "Are you serious right now?" He looks at you and says, "What, human?"
The man, I knew you would be here. Good to see you. Good to see you. Always the same. Always the same.
Says, he just kind of looks around and he goes, "Her I get." And then he looks at Daifu and says, "And him I get. But a foreigner to these lands. I can't figure out why the Dragoon chose you as their chosen."
Uquil just chuckles and he's like, He's like, I'm almost offended. Almost, but I like you. I don't know why I like you, but I like you.
He says, well, you should be offended. I think there's some kind of foolishness going on. All I can say, and he looks at the ancestors and he says, your people better not be pulling a fast one to win this
Hold on.
Jingzhou.
Hold on. Where's it at? And I'm going to say this is more of like an instinctual. He doesn't realize he's doing it. Like his presence aura just kind of takes over. And he just goes back to default Uquill. Like he's being intimidating without intentionally being intimidating. Like does like this guy really, like he actually finds it amusing. Because again, it's Uquill, right? Like his display of like
I get what you're-
overbearingly, you know what I mean? He finds it humorous, but it also, you know, he gets infuriated a little bit by it. He's like, your own arrogance is probably as bad as my own.
Yeah.
And sometimes even I know when to shut the fuck up, but you seem to not. So again, like his presence aura just kicks in. And then like, again, he's not trying to be intimidating, but by default, he doesn't know any other way. So as he says this next little bit, it's like you can see the flames from his breath weapon just roll out of his mouth, you know? And he's like, watch what you say. And then just walks off.
Yeah. I won't make you roll or do anything for that. You just kind of hear the howl just kind of crack his neck in the behind you. He says, interesting. A breath weapon. I don't recall him winning a Jingzhou. Nor do I know of any of the ancestors having breath weapons such as this. And he says that out loud, which is funny to you because he's saying it like he's thinking it, but he's saying it out loud.
He's saying it.
Yeah, but he's saying it out loud. He's like, huh, interesting.
Yeah.
You know, like, I want you to think like the most anime inner monologue you can think of.
Yeah.
And
that's kind of what I had in my head.
That's just what happened. You know what I mean? And it kind of gives you an insight to how his race works, actually. Like, they're kind of like that, you know?
Fair enough. Yeah, and he walks past the Jade Warren and just stops kind of in front of him. And he's like, not surprised, definitely not happy. And then just walks off.
Daifu just kind of goes, what did I do? He's like, what did I do? He's like, all right.
Like it's one of those, like, he would have preferred Poe to have been there over, you know what I mean?
Daifu.
Yeah, it's like he has nothing really against him. It's just like, if I could have had my choice, it would have been those three, just because I want to shut the monkey up. I like fucking with her, and Poe is hilarious.
Ah, yeah.
My panda, my panda.
Yeah.
My motherfucking panda. Okay, I'm over it.
Well, so on each of the ancestors now, you'll see a colored dot. You are represented by red, right? Zai Mei is represented by purple. The Hao is represented by the yellow, and Daifu is represented by the green. They're like, well, that was certainly interesting. Chronipsis remarks. He says, if the writers don't mind, please take your seats. And they all kneel down, just crouch down, allowing you all to climb upon their backs. Something else that you might notice is that the sun is up. And you distinctly remember it being the second day when you the end of the second day when you went into this cave. And now you're in the third day, meaning you have been up literally all night doing this trial. They literally were inside your mind for a good 12 to 13 hours or so. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Yuquil just kind of like chuckles and he's like, "Y'all really had too much fun with that shit, didn't y'all?" As he's climbing up on. He's just like, "Fuck."
Falazar just looks over his shoulder at you and he goes, "Why, you Quill? Whatever do you mean?" Like, and he says that like knowingly. It's almost like they can read your mind, you know.
Yeah.
They're like, "We were once a great and ancient race of people."
Yuquil just kind of chuckles and he's like, "Please no, I've heard it 1,000 times." He's fucking laughing because like he's just got pictures of Yucca in his mind.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of like patting him on the back. You know, he's just like, "Oh God, no more,
Like,
more. Let us just
oh
win."
no, they really are all alive. They really are all alive. No.
Pictures of Yucca and Fenrir in his mind, like, "Oh baby, Jesus help me."
So the blank squares you'll notice are just out of bounds. You lose a
Okay.
you lose a turn if you get pushed into one of them, right?
Okay.
The ones with the red X's are traps. If you get pushed in one of those, you lose a turn unless you can get out of it. You see what I'm saying? You get a chance to get out of it. You know?
Gotcha.
And that's how, and this is basically just, there's never been a game like this ever invented before. But, yeah. So, to begin with, you all are going to roll a die. You know what I'm saying? What is this? Why is that like that? Well, that's crazy. Huh. Nuts. Can I do that all the... Oh my gosh, I can do that all the time? Huh.
All of the time.
All of the time?
All of the time.
All of the time. Yeah, but you all are gonna roll just to see who goes first when the buzzard rings, right? Then you will have your move, right? Your speed is 80 feet.
Just the D20.
Yep.
Dice giveth and the dice taketh. Now, I should have probably asked this. Am I permitted to interfere of my own volition with things that I have at my disposal?
Nope.
Didn't think so.
You may only use what your chosen ancestor has at their disposal. However, I should have told you what is 14 is a what? What is the modifier for a 14? Is that a 3? That's a 3.
No.
It's either a 3 or a 2.
It's a 2, I'm almost positive.
Plus 2, I think, because at a plus 12, or at a 12, it'd be a plus 1, right?
Yeah.
Because at a 10, it's a 0.
Yeah,
At
14's a
12,
2.
it's a 1, so 14 would be a 2, right?
Yeah, 14's a 2.
Okay. So that's a 13 is what you roll. And this is going to be the longest. This is going to be the longest part right here. Just because I got to get everybody's stuff figured out right now. And then
Now, the reason I was asking is you remember I have like abilities that could buff him if needed and whatnot.
Oh yeah, I know. But yeah, it just no, because this is all about them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so wow. All right. You will move second. And Low will get to move first. So, here we go. You ready?
Sure.
All right. So everybody's wings, they all just kind of look at each other and they're like, who's saying go this time? Garrix goes, I'll say go. And Lowe's like, no, you cheat. You cheat. Chronipsis is like, why don't you just calm down, the both of you, and let's have an honored race for once in our freaking lives, huh? One honorable race. And Falazar says, well, I mean, I don't mind if Garrix says go, if nobody else minds. And Chronipsis says, well, I certainly don't mind. And then Lo says, go, and he jumps. 1, 5, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So he just takes off. And the second he says that, you hear Garrix go, oh, son of a... And Falazar says, oh, well, we're going. And you, the one rule is that you can go all over this board, right? But you have to enter the race through your green colored marker right there, right? So you have to at least go in a straight line till you get there. But once you get out here, out into the rest of it, right? You can move any direction you want. You see what I'm saying?
I got you.
And I will give you control of this. Of this guy. Okay, you have control of him. Have at it.
That was pretty gay.
So it's 35 to pass the gate. All right. I think that's it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Then it is. Let's see.
Which one jumped out to elite?
It was Low. Low just completely took off. Yeah.
30 cunt rag.
Should add a soundboard that says "Watch your profanity."
And Garrix gets right next to you. And and he's going to attempt to bump you back behind him. Just bash you back one thing. He's not using the force bash. It's just combat. It's opposing strengths.
Okay.
So that is what is your strength? So you get a 16, so that's a what, a +4?
Plus 3.
+3? Okay. All right, so he got a 5, you got a 6. So he tries to like bump into you, you know what I mean? Bash you backwards. You just see Zay May just come flying up next to you, and she just kind of winks at you, and she tries to like engage in the combat. And she like bashes into you, and Falazar says, come on, what do you want me to do here? Tell me what to do.
Just hold your ground.
He says, fair enough. And you watch as he balls up one of his fists and just hauls out while they're flying and just punches Garrix right across his face, sending him back 1 space.
Quill blows her kiss.
Garrix is like, oh man. He goes, oh, you're getting stronger. I'll give you that.
You Quill's yelling back to Gex. I think she likes me. He will not change. Just gonna let you know that. He will be you Quill till the day he dies. And then some.
Chronipsis comes flying up on you, And he goes to grab you to yank you behind him. He's like, so sorry about this. And we're going into opposing strengths again.
Darn it, hot bags!
I would like to say this is not
Yeah.
turning out to be an honorable race. They were gaslighting each other.
Yeah. Yeah, they have been. He goes to do it. He grabs a hold of you, fellas. Chronipsis grabs a hold of Falazar. Because, the Howl's just up there like, get him. Take him out. And he tries to grab a hold of Falazar's tail and pull him back. And Falazar just kind of nods at you and he says, with permission, I'd like to kick my brother right in his chops.
Please, by all means.
He just leans back and just boom. Just kicks Chronipsis, knocking Chronipsis back one space. And you can just hear Lo up there laughing. He's like, if you guys were faster, you wouldn't be doing this.
Yuquil's just like, fucking little son of a mother. Bro, I think we're the favorites, and we're not doing well.
He goes, new round. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20. He rounds the corner. 25, 30.
So are the outside of the boxes, is that what he has to go around? He can't go in them?
Huh? Yeah, he can't go in them. If he goes in those boxes, he either loses a round or he's trapped.
Oh, okay. I was wondering. I thought they had to. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I had to zoom out more. I couldn't see all of it.
Yeah, fuck this as far as I can get. Motherfucker's just barely staying out of reach.
Oh no, he's within range. If you can see him, you can pull him.
No, I don't want to. Yeah, I'm not using that yet. I want to smack him around without having to use his ability.
Ah, I see. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm shoving that for when I might actually need it.
Right.
And if they can just fucking smack each other through shit, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna choose that option first if need be. It's like, if it's fucking, if these two assholes behind me just keep on going after me, it's like, fuck, I might need that.
Okay. And what is his? Okay. Yeah. There we go. Chronipsis is actually going to grab Garrix and try to attack him instead. He's not even coming after you right now.
Thank Jesus.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason.
Yeah, I know what he's trying to do.
Ah, okay. Yeah, it worked. All right, so he comes up on Garrix. Zai Mei is just like, she's like looking at you still, Yuquil. She's like, I'm ahead of you, just in time for Chronipsis to come over and just double bash Garrix right in his back and scoot him, switching places with them. He's like, so sorry, brother. And How's like, now, do it! And Chronipsis, prism blasts, freaking, Low right in the face. That
reminded me of Cowboy Bebop.
Kinda, huh? Ooh. Okay. So yeah, he blasts Lo right in the face, and Lo's like, ah! He's like, dang it, Chronipsis. Chronipsis is like, have fun trying to leave us in your dust now, brother. Lord Daifu's just like, oh. He just leaves out like a sigh and just shakes his head like, oh, crying. Android.
Yes.
Keep Agaragis awake.
Agaragis is awake.
Okay, Agaragis, stay
I'll go
awake.
with the stick.
Drink coffee if you have to, because I'm gonna need you awake by the end of all this.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm not trying to be mean
Powder.
when I say that. I'm not trying to be mean.
No,
Oh,
you're
okay.
good.
Okay.
Get the
This is
powder.
funny.
Now it is actually Lo's turn, so he can only go. Let's see. Now he can only move. Okay. Which is considerably. Which is considerably a lot less than what he was moving, I will point out. Falazar, it is now your turn.
Did they get past him? Do I have to engage, or do I just kind of just blast past him?
Oh, you have to engage.
Okay, I thought so. If I have to, then I'm going to try to push him into the...
Into the trap?
Yeah.
Okay.
Give me a good number. That's not a good number.
Yeah, yeah. Somehow he managed to survive that. Yeah. He got a 16. He got a high roll that time.
Yeah, I can't seem to find those.
Yeah, you just yeah, so you come up on him and try to like grab him and pull him back or throw him into the trap, and he can't see, and Lord Daifu's like, on your 6. Swing your tail now. And Lo just slaps you in the head and throws you back 1 space. Actually, go ahead. Actually, no. Yeah, he can't. You know what? This is a rule I never made. Okay, yeah, he just knocks you back 1 space. You only have the option to, if you defend, you do not have the option to put somebody in a trap or out of bounds. Okay? I just now thought about this rule. If you are the defender and you win, you don't have the option to knock somebody out of bounds. You have to be the attacker to put somebody in a trap or knock them out of bounds. Okay? So keep that in mind. Which is going to put... Nope, it's not your turn. So he comes around and sees you, and he's going to initiate a shout of force to win a combat conflict with you. Go ahead and roll. Yeah, roll your will. A will save. That's 1d20 plus the 15.
Ugh.
And he's gonna roll his will. No, plus the 15. Not the plus 2, but it's a plus 15.
Oh, yeah. My bad.
Yeah, no problem. I know the mistake that you made there. That's fine. I get it.
Better roll anyways.
Okay, so he actually loses that, oddly enough. So, now trying to use your ability and failing at it doesn't actually take it away from you. So if you fail, you get to keep it and try and use it again. You know what I'm saying? That's the one caveat behind these abilities. Only if they are a success do you lose it. You know what I'm saying? Because of these narrow spaces. But yeah, he tries to force shout on you to wreck you. You know what I mean? And yeah, explain to me what you do to evade this force shout. Actually, you tell me how that happens. Because Falazur is looking to you for the maneuvering. He's not actually using any of his abilities, right? Or any of his. It's all the writer's knowledge. So how do you keep him from losing that? Losing his getting smacked, basically.
Dodgeball.
Yeah. So you're just like whoa, 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 flying around, and Falazur's like, you don't control flying mounts very often, do you?
You cool chuckles and just kind of pats his armor, and he's like, falling's not good for me.
But much to Falazur's surprise, you do manage to barrel roll right over that force shout, and it misses completely. Zai Mei is just like, okay, that's beginner's luck. Don't worry, we'll get him. And she just pats Garrix, and Garrix is like, we had better. Yeah, Chronipsis is actually just going to engage, and he's going to just try and throw Garrix into one of the traps.
You could dodge a wrench, you could dodge a ball.
Exactly.
Sorry, I was late on that. I'm a little brain dead at the moment.
Yeah, it's every day.
Every day that ends in a Y.
That's usually every day.
He comes up on Garrix and tries to bear hug Garrix and throw him into one of the traps, and Garrix just breaks free, and he's like, nope, I have failed enough today, brother, and slaps it, backhands him back one space. And next round. Lo has gotten his speed back. He's just like, oh, I can see. And you just hear Daifu go, then punch it! And they down the track.
So close, so far away.
Actually, Zai Mei is gonna just wait right here instead. And Chronipsis is gonna come up right here. Next to you. And he's going to attempt to blind Lo again. He's like, you all had better start doing something. I can only slow him down so many times.
He's wiry.
And it works again. He's like, wow. And Lowe's like, oh, why? Oh. Yeah. Alrighty.
Why are you gay?
So we roll up on him again, and I'm just like, beat him like an orc drum into that trap.
And Falazar says, with pleasure. And it's opposing strengths.
I hope you know what I did there. The orc drum.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. I get you 100%. Oh yeah, he fails. So you throw him into the trap.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, oh, boom. And he's in the trap. Womp womp.
This motherfucker said, wow.
All right, now. Here we go. Garrick's. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Yeah, he's right up on you, and he's gonna try and win another deal and throw you into the trap. So opposing strengths. Oh no, will. Opposing wills. Because he is going to try and use that final fight there. Yep, he got a 27. So he lost. So he comes over and tries to like that, and Falazar just doesn't even ask. He just backflips over all of it and just waves at his brother and then comes back down. And he's like, so sorry about that. He goes, I know I was supposed to ask you what to do, but we're too close now. Like he's salivating. He's like, I really want to win this.
I was like, that's what I was banking on.
you say that and laugh, and he just laughs despite himself. He's like, ha ha ha. He's like,
I was like, you struck me as the type that's like me, win at any cost. We're gonna win this shit.
It's like, we got this. Chronipsis is just gonna try and opposing strengths. But Garrick's is gonna force bash that one as well. Okay. He's like, oh no. No. Not this time, brother. And he actually wins it. And he, as Chronipsis comes flying up like, I got you. Garrick's is like, no! And blasts him in the face and shoots him all the way back into this trap. He's like, our mother. Alright. Low has to try and he's got, can burst it. Okay. Alright. So Low, he gets knocked into the trap, but he actually pushes himself out. He like wind pushes Lord Daifu's like, we're stuck in a trap, and he says, no, we're not. and he just wah, and breaks free right up out of it, effectively ending his turn. Next round, he will be able to go. All right. It is Falazur's turn. Yeah, right there. It's a standoff.
You have to get through me at this point, bitches.
Let me see something about Garrix's. Okay. So where was he? He was right there. 10, 15, 20, 25. He's just gonna land just right out of, you know what I'm saying? Just like right in front of you. And he is going to shout blast you into a trap. He's gonna try. Opposing wills. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
One time I needed it not to be fucking shitty.
You might still win because you've got a better will than he does. I mean, he can beat you, but it's just barely. And if he hadn't rolled a 3 just now, he probably would have. I mean, he didn't roll a 3 total, but he rolled a 3 plus whatever it was. And so
that's how I was. I rolled all of a 6. I'm like, you fucking bitch.
You literally beat him by just a couple of points. So he goes to force blast you again, and Bowser just reaches out and clamps his mouth shut and slaps him across his face. He's like, no, not this year. Like, they're getting mad at each other now. You can see it. Lo is back there like, are you kidding me right now? You can't block the entryway. You can't block the entryway. Not
Done
fair.
did it.
Not fair. Yeah.
Yeah, you quill up there shaking his ass. Look at that.
Lo is gonna try and shove Garrix into, or nah, he's just gonna fight and try to switch places with him at least. Well, honestly, none of them can win. You've won. It doesn't matter how this plays out. You've won. So you might as well just take yourself across the finish line.
I tried to play that as. I thought about it too. I was like, if I throw him in the trap, I could get it. I was like, wait, hold up. I think I can make the turn. And if I make the turn,
yeah, I've got the win right there.
Yes, exactly.
So you come flying through the finish line, and Falazar's like, yes! Yes! He's like, you guys can suck it! Ah! And he looks at you, Quill, and he goes, and you never one time used my Shadow Whip. Good on you! As the other brothers finally make it through the finish line.
You Quill's just standing atop of him now, just kind of doing like the really cringe bow.
When you do that, like you're like, yeah, you're like bowing, and Falazar, he's like standing there just all, but his wings like fold to the ground, like they're now a cape, and he lowers his head as well as he bows, and the others approach you as well, and they all bow. And their riders stand up and bow. And Chronipsis says, congratulations, brother. You are the winner of this year's Jingzhou. Of the Jingzhou this time. And Lo says, congratulations. And Garrick says, yeah, congratulations, brother. And you just hear Falazar go, thank you.
Yukul walks in kind of like in front of like each one of them, and he walks over to Chronipsis. He's like, you know what? He's like, if it wasn't for you, that probably wasn't possible for us. Walks over to the other one. Oh, I forgot his name. My brain just turned off. Forgive me.
The wind.
No, not him yet.
Oh, Garrix.
Yeah, he walks over to Garrix. Is like, you're a feisty son of a bitch, and I appreciate that. I appreciate it. It's like you made it interesting, all the same. And then he walks in front of Low. He doesn't turn and face him, but he walks in front of him and kind of stands and like stops. Thanks for a second. He's like, I want to say something quippy, but I've got nothing. He kind of just looks over, like side eyes him. He's like, you really are just a pain in the ass to deal with, aren't you? Just takes his head.
He goes, he like raises his head and looks at you and winks and goes, I told you I'm fast, boy. I'm fast.
You just laughs and he's just like, he points his hand up in the air and he's like, fucking A-right, boy, fucking A-right.
He's like, the Shogun Sao Zu would have won this, just so you know. And he kind of looks up at his back and you hear Lord Daifu just kind of grunt or clear his throat. He's like, well,
when he hears that,
congratulations.
Yuko's walking over to the three. He's got his arms spread out and he looks over his shoulder at Lo and he's like, no, he wouldn't have, because Daddy's here. He's gotta be equal to the end of days, I swear to God.
With that, the others are, the others dismount now and everybody's like on the ground, with you. And, Chronipsis says, you Quill, please enter the chamber of remembrance. And he points to like this temple that is built into the mountain structure. It literally looks like a giant dragon's head carved out of like gold, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is just this massive dragon's head, and I want you to think like the New Year's dragon, with the whiskers and the eyes and the mouth and the teeth and the lips and all of that. It's just this giant freaking dragon head,
Gotcha.
And then they look at the others and they say, if you'll allow us to escort you here, we have some business we need to attend to with you all.
Yuko just kind of chuckles and he's like, oh yeah, huh? He's like, before y'all go, looks at the Jade Warrior dude, I can't remember his name. He said it was real, it was fun. Nice try. Looks at the monkey, he's like, monkey! Love you, boy. Love you. See you around. He's like,
you hear the monkey say, huh? How could a foreigner have beat us, who have been preparing for the Jingzhou all our lives? This is a strange turn of events.
Yuko just winks at Shorty. He's like, hope to see you around. And he looks at the dragon. He's like, leave that part, please.
She's like, what? She just nods at you. She's like, it'll be okay. She goes, they're only gonna just take away our memory of this one instance. Believe me, Yuquil. Whatever we have between us will remain intact. She goes, whatever that may be.
Yuko just chuckles. Catch you on the flip side.
Garrix just kind of goes, you got a mommy complex, don't you, boy? And he goes prancing into the game now.
Yeah, Yuko's just like,
everybody.
he's like, just pray you don't go back in my mind and find out.
So you enter the temple, and when you go in the temple, you realize that it's just a circular room with a seat in the center of it. And it's not like in that stone room where it's uncomfortable or anything. This is comfortable. It's got plenty of lighting in there. As you sit down, the seat is comfortable. It's padded and made out of the finest jade and wood. And with purple velvet padding. And you just sit in it and you kind of sink into it. And the second you sink into that seat, you just feel all your bones just kind of relax. And you're just kind of like, ugh. And a few of your joints even pop. Just, and you realize just how tired and run through you actually feel right now. Not ran through. There's a better way of describing that.
But yes,
Back in the day, that didn't mean what it means now. And now I realize that I'm going to have to change my terminologies because some of my terminologies come from like, I'm an old head. So like back in the day, ran through didn't necessarily mean that. But now how beat up? No.
Yes. Choose your words wisely, fool.
How exhausted you feel? You feel extremely exhausted. Yeah. So you're just kind of like, ugh, and your joints are all popping, and you're just like, oh man, and you're even like sweating now. You're like, and you kind of half wonder if like a spell was put on you without your knowledge, and now it's like wearing off, and you're being allowed to feel the exhaustion, you know? And as you start to kind of like get tired and fall asleep, your eyes kind of flicker and they kind of want to close, and then suddenly they open up like wide because you realize the four ancestors are standing before you now, side by side, just looking down at you. They're like, and Chronipsis says, "Welcome back." You quit.
Yeah.
As the eldest of my brethren, and you hear Balazar say, "By 10 minutes," and you hear Chronipsis kind of clear his throat. As the oldest of my brethren, it is my duty to inform you of these things. You now have a choice. You may choose one of us, and we shall grant you your breath weapon. I have the power of Prism, which means your breath weapon will now effectively blind your opponents or any of your attackers. Balazar has the power of Shadow, which means your breath weapon now can create a sphere of darkness. There is Garrix, whose breath weapon is that of Force. A shout so powerful that it can shatter most things. Or there is Wind, whose breath weapon is so powerful and so swift that shouting using it will actually lift you up off the ground as if you are flying and carry you several feet, even through the air. And in the burst, you will land as light as a feather, wherever it is your destination is. Or we will call upon forces and ask it one question and give you that answer. The caveat of all this, you Quill, is that while we erase the memories of the others, we will not erase your memory. The winner gets to keep their memory. But you must swear secrecy of what you have witnessed here in this final trial. Forever. For on that day when you tell somebody, you shall either lose your breath weapon or forget the answer to the question you were given.
Fair deal, actually. So if I take one of their breath weapons, it doesn't replace my actual one?
No, it'll just give you another breath weapon. That Sao Zhu, you know, the Shogun, Sao Zhu, he's won this 3 times. People have mentioned it. He's got 3 of their 4 breath weapons.
Fair enough. Huh.
They're like, that man is powerful. He owns the greatest Shogun. He's got the biggest Shogunate for a reason.
Ah. What is the Force one? What what's the range on that? It's like I want that one, but I'm afraid that one's like
the same
probably
the same as your fire. It works just like a cone of the cone. It works just the same. It works the same, only it does 3D. It does 3d12 force damage. There is a reflex save for half though.
Yeah. That's pretty.
And that will be based upon your dragon shaman levels.
I'm actually torn between that and the darkness. Like I do like the wind one and the prism, but like
being able to just like straight up breathe a cone of darkness and be like, lights out.
Yeah.
Wah!
Yeah, because like because if it works as spell, or you know what I mean, or spell like ability, that orb of darkness, there's no getting around it. Like somebody has to basically use something to counter it, which is always a perk. That's something that I'm desperately missing.
And something you should know too about that too, something that I didn't explain. It'll be like you're the dragon using it, so that orb of darkness won't affect you at all. You will still be able to see in it, just like he would be able to.
And there you go. That's cheating.
Well, there are some that would be like, that's you put a cone of darkness down, that's cute. You know, depending on the kind of enemy you're going up against, it'll either be really helpful or it'll be a slight hindrance that buys you time. But either way, it would be handy to have, like being able to breathe a straight up cone of darkness or an orb of darkness, like, because it works just like the spell, same radius, everything.
Okay, then because like because again, I'm not using it on like if I'm fighting said person, right? Like me using the most practical one for what he does would be the shout one, right? Or the force one.
Yeah.
But I was like, I've already got 2 high damage breath weapons. I don't have a utility one, and that's kind of what I'm missing. So I'd really be between the wind and the darkness and the prism. And I know the other one works kind of probably like what's it, blinding prism or whatever the fuck that spell is.
Yeah. It's going to be a little bit more powerful than that just because it's a dragon's breath.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to work similar. And the orb of darkness, it works like the orb of darkness, only you can't like project it out like in a, you know what I'm saying? It has to be in your area. You just breathe it out and it just encircles you, right? The force shout works like your cone of fire, you know what I mean? It's just a little stronger than say your cone of fire. And the wind one, basically, it's like taking the spell jump, only more so. You can leap great distances in the air, and it'll be like you have wings. You can actually think the X-Men Banshee, right? You know, you can scream. You can actually do that. Just scream at the ground, throw yourself, and then scream in the direction you're wanting to go, and feather fall basically down. So that would be utility too, in the sense where there's a castle wall there, no problem. Wah! Up over into it.
Well,
I'm here.
I've already got that to a certain degree with my grapple.
Yeah, that's true. Your grappling gauntlet, So that makes sense.
Like it can help with that, and that's why I'm kind of torn. That's why I'm really torn between the darkness and the force one, because it's like I do like damage though, but it would be nice to just like walk in the middle of an army, drop the orb in, and just be like, I don't have time for you little fuckers.
Right.
Like this is not meant for the big guy. This is meant to get to the big guy. Fuck you. But being able to just have a fucking another deadly breath weapon is fuck. What are the restrictions on the usage on them?
The same as your fire breath weapon.
So it's just like instead of using my fire one, I would alternate using that one, and the penalty would be the same whatever I roll.
Well, it's the same amount of time, like the same amount of usages. You don't, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to choose, am I using fire, am I using this? You get them both, you just have the same amount of usage out of it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'd have to like, so if I say I'm using my fire, next round I couldn't turn around and use my, let's say, force.
Oh, well, no, yeah, you could.
Yeah.
You could.
Oh, okay. So they just okay. Oh, well, fuck.
Yeah, it's the same amount. It's the same amount of restrictions. It's just not. You know what I'm saying? You're not having to choose between one or the other. You can use them both. It's just that once you do, you know, you're gonna only be able to
cooldown
use
is the cooldown.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, fuck, that does change it. That 1d4, like 1d4 rounds can be good and bad, but if in 2 rounds I can use 2 breath weapons, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you're not rolling just for one. You'd have to roll separately for them also. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's its own separate entity. The rules are just the same.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if I use my fire the first round and then I turn around and use my, let's say I picked force.
Yeah.
Like, if my fire, if I got, you know, bad dice and it was a 4-round cooldown, next round I use my force and I'm lucky enough to get it back in 2 rounds. It's like, okay, well, I just alternate them now.
Exactly.
I'm back up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that does change it. That's why I'm so limited on using my. Because I swear to God, that thing hits a 4 every fucking time.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Well, while you think about that, we're gonna switch over and we will we'll finish this up in a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're good.
Because it's starting to get late. People got work in the morning. You know what I'm saying? We're going to we're gonna get to this final little bit here, and you can have a few days to think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Sound good?
Yeah, I'm not sweating it. Yeah.
All right. So picture this. The camera pans and they offer you this, you know, whether you're going to take a breath weapon or, you know, secret knowledge, and the camera just slowly fades away and brings us to Android and Zoltan. Zoltan and Chumi are taking Lao D's advice, because now we're zipping back in time again. It is the night of the 2nd day. So, you, Quill, technically right now, you are getting mind absorbed by the ancestors. And Agaragus, you are still locked in combat with the brush hog. You see what I'm saying? And please tell me everybody's still awake in here.
Yeah, we're all still here.
Okay, sweet. All right, y'all ready for this? So Zoltan and Chumi.
Is this a good time to go pee real quick?
I mean, I guess.
I'm gonna run and go pee real quick.
I think while you, Quill, was doing everything he was doing was a good time to go pee. But...
yeah, that was the best time.
Yeah, that was the ideal time.
We want the good time. We don't want
It's only now that I'm nervous that I have to pee.
All right, go pee real quick. We'll talk about Zoltan.
You're nervous.
We'll talk about yeah. You almost lost that, my dude.
Oh no, I was waiting on my contingencies. Like that round, if things didn't work out like I wanted, I was like, we're shadow whipping the fuck out of people.
We're doing this. We're moving through. But yeah, Zoltan and Chumi, right? Have you taken Laudi's advice and decided to just rest till he gets back, or what are you doing right now?
Now I'm consoling Chumi, and then while doing that, I'm in thought of the hourglass for pondering on how the hourglass has been acting up lately.
So Chumi is just sitting there crying on your shoulder. She's just like, you know, is she just crying? Are you holding her? Explain to me like how you're consoling her.
So I'm holding her and like patting her, or like, you know, like comforting her, just patting her head, saying
Kind of like stroking her hair
fine.
and yeah.
Yeah.
I got you. What thoughts are you having on the hourglass though while she's doing that? She's just like, I'm so sorry for being such a burden, and you're just like, shh, there now. Simmer down now. But
Calmate.
yeah, like you're kind of on. Would it be fair to say you're kind of like on autopilot while consoling her? You're just kind of going through the motions. Not that you don't really mean it. It's just, you know, you've got other things on your mind, you could say.
Yeah.
Well, when it comes to the hourglass, what is your thoughts on that? Like, what is it that you're pondering? You know, tell us about your earliest memories of your childhood. No, but seriously, what are you like? What is your thoughts on that hourglass?
Well, in all honesty, Zoltan's been having issues with it ever since he's had it, but lately it hasn't been doing the teleporting to different places or anything like that. And he started thinking about on it, and it started acting up when they first met the water weird. And the whole bag of holding incident, that's when it first started acting up.
Right.
Because as he hears all the time, there's always like the sound of, there's always a ticking sound on it. There hasn't been a ticking sound for a minute now. And the only time he heard the ticking sound was when he was scared that he was gonna die by Mr. Blossom. That was the only time he's ever heard that sound. And then he started.
Oh, continue. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Don't let me interrupt.
And then he started thinking about when he was with what's his name? Blacktone? Is that right?
Blacktone?
Yeah. He was going back and thinking about what he said about how it could be tethered to another place. Or it could be tethered to something else, or it's just not having power, and Sultan's been thinking about that. Just wondering what it could be tethered to.
So, what is, he's wondering what it could be tethered to? Like, what made, when, how am I trying to ask this? Because I'm not trying to do the thinking for you.
Left the DM in a sticky situation.
No, not really. And I really wish you wouldn't word it like that. But
Android's back.
When you're wondering about like whether it's tethered to something or not, or like its power source, for instance, what is his thoughts on that? I guess is what I'm asking. Like, he's wondering what it could be tethered to, where it gets its power. You know what I'm saying? Like, how does that make him feel? Like, what is his resolve about that whole like line of thinking, I guess, is really what I'm asking. Like, the reason why I'm asking it is because as the DM, I kind of need to know, so I know like how to take that particular story, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, well, when he first met the group, it was from him teleporting, and ever since then he's been with the group, and Zoltan thinks that they've kind of just adopted him into it. And he's thought of them as friends for the most part. And he's thought that it could be possible that it's tethered to his emotions, because every time he does hear the ticking, he gets a little sad, thinking that that might be the last chance that he gets to see him, and then it just instantly teleports. And then when he was afraid of losing his life, the time went back, and he's been thinking, could it be tied to the emotions that he has? Because also when we were with Black, when he was with the Black Tomb, when he was afraid of the testing, he heard a little bit of ticking. So he's just been thinking if it could be tied to that as well.
So he thinks it's tied to his emotions and what then?
Just based off of strong emotions.
Okay, so it's based off of his emotions and okay, so yeah, just strong emotion, like the emotion of when he was sad and when he was worried about losing his life and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's what he's wondering now, like where does it get its power source from? Could it be his emotions and because Black Tome told him that it was possibly tethered to something else just besides him, like you're one end of that rope per se. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What's on the other end is what you're kind of wondering about.
Yeah, he's wondering what else could be tied to it.
Okay. And where does it get its power? But just out of curiosity, is he curious as to why it's not pumping out as much power as it was?
Yeah, that's also something because he does not hear the ticking at all. It's only occasionally when he hears it, and he thinks he's. I'm pretty sure him and Black Tomb both realized it was running out of power or something like that.
Yeah, that it was inactive. It was almost like deactivated, as he put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you have these thoughts while consoling Chu-Mi, and she's rubbing your chest, and she fills the hourglass, and she yanks it from your chest. I'm gonna need you to roll a
It's not fair.
reflex. No, I'm just kidding. That never happened. But no, while you are consoling her though, and she's just loving on you, but go ahead and you're so lost in thought right now that I need you to roll me a spot check.
Oh Lord have mercy. Hold up. We gotta wait for it to load back up. Gotta get the skills going. Damn, Daniel. Didn't know the character sheet took that long to open.
Dang, Daniel.
It's not even scrolling down. Oh, Lord have mercy. It's become unresponsive. That's what was wrong with it.
Dang, D Green, did you produce this?
Can I do it now? What about now?
Looking like Johnny Dang.
I can't. Oh, there we are.
Louis Vuitton, what I want.
Right, pocket gold chain, left pocket gold cake. I don't even know if that's how he says it, but he says something like that.
Right pocket got money, left pocket cocaine.
That's what it is.
You said a spot?
Yeah.
What if I just say no?
What if I just say you don't have to? No. You certainly don't have to. Yeah, you are so lost in your thought, you don't even notice that Chu-Mi is like staring at you, and you completely miss the look she's giving you right now.
Oh, type shit.
Yeah. Word. Android.
Alright, I'm gonna go pee real quick.
Yeah, you go pee now. You go pee. Android. You
That's me.
Yeah, so Zoltan and Chu-Mi have taken another room because theirs got trashed, right? But they've retired to rest until Lao D gets back, leaving you to do whatever. What is it that Android's doing right now?
Oh, well,
Oh, set the scene for us.
well, Android's very, nervous about this whole situation. He's very, pent up, if you will. I have a thing prepared for this, a piece, if you will, and it's gonna take me some time to get through. I kinda didn't expect to do this on our first session back, but that's Pog for you. So
You're welcome.
you
You golden wonders out there listening to this, you're welcome. This is Drama Man. Okay, sorry.
Okay, so Android, he enters the room and sits on the edge of his bed and removes his hat, furrowing his brow. Setting his elbows upon his knees, he folds his hands together, lacing his fingers and balling them like fists, then rests his chin on the knuckles. He closes his eyes in a sort of meditative contemplation, as is his usual modicum of rest. Recounting the day to himself and how to proceed going forward, there's a growing anguish within him that he can't quite place as he addresses it within himself. It's as though when he tries to center his attention on the task at hand, his thoughts can't help but drifting, all the way back to the beginning, to his journeys with Tyrone and Timothy. What would they say if they were here? You worry too much. All you have to worry about is making sure I get half of everything we scrape up. Half of everything, of course. Android would have to speak with Sebastian about this later on, and get the proper paperwork sorted out in preparation for when Tyrone returns to them. You're overthinking it. Even if the situation isn't black and white, do what you know to be right, and do what you believe is right, and you'll never be wrong. A simple principle bestowed him by Timothy that got Android far along his path. A principle he has seemingly forsaken more often than not as of late. His thoughts drift further to some of the others. Mindoc, Otis, Yoshi, even Solar. It isn't really that simple now, is it, Android? Mere principalities don't aid you when you can't shake the fear of what may be lurking in the shadows of every step you take. Mindoc was never the talking sort, but he was observant. He likely followed us to suit his own purposes until our goals misaligned. That's when he decided to strike. But is that really all? Did Mindoc really use that whole time to plot, or did something happen to change his ambitions? Was there something he could have done to change it? Perhaps if he had just engaged Mindoc, as Timothy had engaged Android long ago. I don't really know what to tell you, Android. I'm not much of the talking sort either. All I know is what Obad High tells me. And in this case, I think he'd say nature doesn't blame itself for what could be seen as shortcomings. I hope that helps. He was never terribly close with Otis, but he would never forgive himself for allowing the honest, naive little halfling to remain unfound, especially not after the much he had done in contribution to their progress. Keep the narrow way, Android, and I'll be ever at your back should you come to peril. Solar had been there to bail Android out of great many sticky situations. He was a symbol of Coralon's trust in Android, a trust in the ability to aid Yoshi in maintaining Lorethian in his stead. Many are strong in the ways of the body, but less are strong in the ways of the spirit. You need the ability to smite every aggressor such as you, Quill. Seek mastery over thyself, and place faith in my father to guide your path such as he has done in the past. Yoshi's words oozed through his mind as he heard them, thick and rich like molasses. It was as though they were dripping with pure magic. There was a warmth at the mention of Coralon, and he found himself briefly comforted. Over the course, he hears the voices of all the former and glorious few who had come and gone, even those who weren't with them for long, such as Shiva of the East and Tak. All those who had put their lives on the line to meet Androits End. Sonrek, Yarnum, even Ekbalam. And in these moments where he hears them, rather than ridicule and shame him for his faults and failures, as he believes they should, they merely seek to bestow him counsel and encouragement. One of them always knowing which is the next step to take when he himself is frozen in place. Then he feels it. The cold, a sensation so undefinable that it can't be named by the descriptors intended to do so. He feels himself trudging and trudging upon the flattened ends of his shins, just above where the ankles should be. Feet frozen stiff and broken free from long ago on his path. Each step he takes threatening to freeze him in place so that he'd need to break his leg off further to a shorter stump so that he may continue. Why are you here? The voice was seemingly his own, yet altogether foreign, like an imitation coming from the end of a long tunnel. He continues trudging on his path, passing each of the inglorious few who have been frozen clean through, seemingly moments before meeting their respective demises, each with expressions of terror twisted on their frosted faces. Android keeps his head down and continues his forced march. You know the answer. You did this. You haven't kept your word. You pushed and pushed until you betrayed each of your many benefactors. A deal's a deal, Android, and you can't escape this. When it is your time, this is where you'll be, and you'll become one of the many who decorate my domain for all of eternity. He stops in his tracks. The voice crawls up and creeps through him to the bone, bringing the cold with it until he's stiffened to a rigor mortis and can no longer trudge. Then he feels himself being yanked free from the ice in which he'd been frozen as he feels something grip around him and drag him steadily, carefully upward. Don't worry, Android. I got you. Then there's the returning sensation of the warmth of the room and the bed giving slightly to his seated weight, and then another voice fills his mind. It is what it is, Maine. You of all people don't have to guess very hard to know my mind. You point at the thang, I swing at the thang. Ain't nothing getting by me, you know what I'm saying? Uquill's transparency about his quest, if nothing else, has taught Android at least one thing, and that is the secret to power must mean different things to different people. Uquill may not be quick to share, but he has never withheld anything from Android when asked. And that's a sort of truth and honesty that Android is unsure he himself possesses. When Uquill finds his answer, he will be capable of standing blow by blow with even the greatest of adversaries, and that truly would be a great wieldance of power. Some may even come to call him invincible beneath the cliffs of Mount Celestia. But he's come to realize that his own personal power comes from having the trust in Uquill to do so. Any burden that Android may carry will be lightened by half in each person that chooses to shoulder it with him. He can achieve much by removing his grip on personal power and placing faith. He feels an overwhelming guilt wash over him for having ever questioned Uquill's motives. With this, he feels his cheeks begin to wet. He lifts his hand and touches his face and becomes aware that he is now crying. With his eyes still closed, as has been the case for the duration, thus far, and tears now gently streaming, he reaches into his bag of holding, noting the wear of his journey wrought upon the leather, and retrieves his violin, the one given him as a boy by his troop ringleader so many years ago. It, too, had seen better years, as suggested by the nicks in the wood, but yet remained sturdy and slickly polished despite its years. He sits in wonderment, marveling at the longevity of the thing and its service to him, and he can see its form perfectly in his mind's eye as he raises it to his chin. He begins to play, starting with the single long-drawing note. A folk tune as it starts, bright and cheerful, as he reflects on the start of his journey, filled with the hope and wonder of children playing elves and fae in the forest and catching fireflies. As the song progresses with his recollection, it slowly evolves into something more tribal, with the folken element telling the tale of fierce battles and glorious triumphs. A serenade it was, by his reckoning, a romanticization of great heroes meant to lull you into a deep love for adventure, but then gradually slowing to a lament, a tale of tragedy and loss, becoming a bittersweet languishment, lingering in the air like a siren song. Then at once it picks back up as he fiercely plays, a tune of resolution, hard bought, a tune of retribution, hard fought. Frames of his journey alone become full scenes of their journey together just behind his eyes, which are squeezed as tightly shut as he can manage while he plays, and he's struck with a sudden realization. We were there together. He follows the motifs of music he's established from the beginning, the sounds of other instruments steadily joining in and playing along with him like a deafening orchestra. Did the bard's charm resonate with him and respond? He can't be sure, and he doesn't care how, nor does he care who may hear as he plays the story of the inglorious few, the story of his heart, until all the instruments together come to an open-ended crescendo that reads, "This portion has yet to be written." The other instruments fall away as he saws the final open note across his strings. He quickly pulls the violin away, dropping both bow and instrument to the floor as he covers his mouth with the back of his hand and chokes out a single sob. "Come now, chum. There's no need for that." The voice of Timothy Lovegood fills his ears once more, and he opens his eyes suddenly, as though he's only just now realizing that the voices are there with him, and finds that the once empty room, save for himself, is now occupied by the whole of the inglorious few, now perceived not only just as his comrades in arms, but his friends, both old and new, with only Tyrone Hatebad missing from the lineup. Even Zoltan and Agaricus number their ranks, each of them standing before him now. Elsa scrambles over and bonks him on the knee with a gnawed old bone, and Timothy Lovegood grins at him from ear to ear. He gazes upon each of their faces, bright and shining, each of them likening to the brilliant light of the very stars hanging in the sky, and he can't help but feeling that they seem, at least to him, a whole lot more worthy of being called the glorious many. "Remember that includes you, Android." He hears the voice from behind him. He looks over his shoulder to find Tyrone sitting cross-legged on the bed with the wry smile. "Hey man, chill out. You look like you've seen a ghost. Don't forget our deal. You made a promise, so come and find me, and however many of the rest of us that you can manage." Android turns back to the rest of the group to find that only you, Quill, Zoltan, and Agaricus remain. He returns his gaze to Tyrone and finds that he too has vanished. He looks back, finding himself alone, and stares into the now empty room, save for himself, once again. Android snatches the pillow from the head of the bed and buries his face in it and screams. He screams until his voice is hoarse and his strength to do so becomes fleeting. Then he begins to weep as his form crumbles into the fetal position on the bed. He weeps away the many years of hardship and struggle until he spent his last drop and sleep begins to overtake him. Then he hears the final voice, that of Corlon the Rethian, which tells him, "And lo, I am with you always, until the end of the age." And as he drifts to sleep, he feels the cold of the everlasting ice leave him in its entirety, at least for the time, and a soothing warmth overcomes him, holding him like a babe cradled by their mother. And that's all I got for Android.
Oh, this motherfucker says it all nonchalantly and shit. This motherfucker gave us like the most epic epilogue this fucking campaign has had. That's all I got.
Oh my goodness.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
That's all she wrote, Avanas?
Yeah, like, do we continue the campaign? Like, what the fuck?
I know, that felt like... I'm wondering if I should even continue the session tonight or just end it right there and say we'll get
Leave
you
it on
next
that
week.
note. God damn.
I think I'm going to, actually. I had something else planned, but that right there is good for tonight, I think.
What the fuck?
I think tonight is... So I guess Agaragos could have gone to sleep if they had wanted to, but...
No. She needed to sit there and listen.
She did.
Like the rest of us.
Yeah, she did too. Exactly.
If that didn't give you goosebumps, you're not human. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh my
That-
goodness.
That gave me shivers like 3 different times.
Oh, well, thank you.
That was fantastic. And I like that.
Well said.
The glorious mini.
Well said.
Yeah. The glorious mini.
Well, thank y'all.
You better, you just made something canon. You had better stick with it now. You realize that, right?
Oh, well, I'll try.
The glorious mini. Yeah. That almost brought tears to my eye. I'm not even kidding. Yeah.
You're not supposed to speak that highly of you, Quill guy, damn it.
Oh, I love him.
Nobody else does. No.
Exactly. He's
No,
the pain of many.
That's where we're gonna call it for tonight's session.
Touche.
Yeah, I want to thank all the Golden Wonders out there who have returned for season 2 of the Adventures in Loxos campaign. Yeah. We were gone for a while, but we're back now, and we're back with full force, baby. You just heard the whole thing, you know. We're back, baby. So,
The swan song of the opening is what we'll call that one.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's a good name for that. That's what I'm gonna call it. This episode is called Swan Song for the Opening. Yep.
Nice.
Let's fucking take a bow. Fuck.
Yeah, no kidding. That was beautiful. Thank you, actually.
We
Thank
need
you.
to animate that as all of our characters taking a bow.
That was no kidding. That was that was good. That took that. I don't know about the rest of y'all. Well, I mean, you, Quill, and Android, you guys have been here since the beginning. Well, mostly since the beginning, but that took me back to a lot of things. And yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, there's a few people who are going to need to hear that as well. And yeah. Well,
It
to all
aged
you,
me like 100 years.
yeah, to all you Golden Wonders out there listening to this, I want to thank you all. Again, this has been AGTX The Dragons, Android, Cassid 69, Icy Hot 2305, and me, Lord Pog. And we just want to say thank you guys again for coming out. Thank y'all for coming on out. And we'll catch you next time in Loxos. again, you guys, I love y'all with my very heart and soul. I couldn't ask for a better group, and I couldn't ask for a better bunch of listeners. So, y'all come back now. Stay golden. Say goodnight, everybody.
Deuces.
Good night.
Have a good time.
How about you, Agaragis? You got anything to say?
Drooly face.
Well, okay, so
She's just too far away. She said good night.
nope, it doesn't count. We didn't hear it. Night, everybody.